and his explosive Oilers hang their hats on the run and shoot. When this scheme is clicking, it's an unstoppable scoring machine. But are there too many moving parts to be consistent week after week? They'll need to score often today. John Elway and his squad swagger into the Astrodome, bringing a 4-1 record. In the past, the Broncos' offensive firepower relied on the success of Elway's arm. But 1991 has seen the emergence of running back Gaston Green. Relegated to the bottom of the depth chart as a Ram, Green's arrival in Denver has instilled a newfound spirit in the former UCLA star. Will Denver's balanced attack be enough to take the Broncos back to the Super Bowl? Today, it's a battle of division leaders in a classic NFL shootout.
NBC Sports presents the National Football League. Today, it's the Denver Broncos versus the Houston Oilers.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Astrodome here in Houston, Texas. The Denver Broncos and the Houston Oilers. Hello, everybody. I'm Charlie Jones, along with Todd Christensen and his
polymorphically psychedelic.
It's a polyester shirt that my partner has on. We have two teams here, one of which you expected to have this kind of a record, one of which you did not expect to have this kind of a record. Let's talk first about the Denver Broncos. They've turned
very depressed. Now things are going well for him. But I think the major reason the success the Denver Broncos has occurred is the running of Gaston Green. At 22 carries and over 104 yards a game, he is the bellwether of the offense.
And all of the experts, including us, will pick the Houston Oilers to be one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the National Football League. So it is no surprise that they have the record that they do. Tell me about the Oilers.
Well, one of the things that's happened with the Oilers is that the first 3 weeks of the season, they spanked 2 division winners and a playoff team. But then 2 weeks ago, they laid an egg against the New England Patriots. What they want to do today is rectify that situation, come out on the field, and dominate the Denver Broncos.
The Denver Broncos have won the toss. They elected to receive, and so that means that number 6, Ian Haufield, the son of Bobby Haufield, a former kicker in the National Football League, will be kicking off, and the deep backs on the return should be number 22, Alton Montgomery, and number 20, Kevin Clark. And we are underway in the Astrodome. And it is Alton Montgomery as the return man. We'll set up Denver's offense with Davidson, Sean Farrell, a surprise starter at left guard, Keith Karts, Doug Weidel, and Ken Lanier. Their backs and receivers, Elway, Green, Perryman, Young, Jackson, and Kay. Now, Denver will show a lot of 2 tight end set. They call it the ace. Robert Perryman comes out, and Shannon Sharp comes in as the second tight end. Denver from their own 19, first down. And Elway comes out throwing, pump fake, and he is dropped at the 10-yard line as Sean Jones got it.
Sean Jones is a disgruntled defensive end when this season started. He had been holding out for almost all of training camp. Here you can see he's able to get by the left tackle and nail Elway. Actually, this is the kind of play where you can get hurt, because you can see from the blind side he gets right past Jeff Davidson with an arm over. And fortunately for Elway, his feet weren't planted, or he might have had knee problems. Sean Jones, a former Los Angeles Raider, in fact a former teammate of mine, traded for a first-round pick some 4 years ago.
Loss of 9, second and 19 is Gaston Green. He's only going to get a couple back. And it'll be 3rd down and 17. Houston's defense, the front 7, Fuller, Childress, Smith, Jones, Latham, Al Smith, and Johnny Meads, with Dishman, Johnson, McDowell, and Bo Orlando in the secondary. Now, when they go to what they call their quarters, 3 linebackers come out and 3 rookies come in. Darrell Lewis, Steve Jackson, and Dumas, they're all in the secondary. Elway from the shotgun with Sewell as his bodyguard. He buys some time and he throws it away. Steve Jackson to the coverage on Michael Young. It'll be 4th down.
One of the things that Denver wanted to do early was establish something so they could keep the crowd out of the game. Denver has not been very successful in domes. Their record in domes is a mere 3-10, and so they didn't want the crowd to get into this and start to get loud, but this is hardly an auspicious beginning for Denver.
Mike Horan will be kicking to number 87, Pat Coleman. Coleman sets up shop at his own 43. The Oilers can come out of this exchange with excellent field position. He takes it on the hop, it is blocked. It'll be a Houston touchdown. Bubba McDowell got it. And Bo Orlando blocked it.
Usually Bubba McDowell is the guy who makes the play, but you can see from the middle what's going to happen is that Bo Orlando comes from the inside and takes it practically right off the foot of Horan. A mad scramble for the ball, and McDowell is there. A big play. He takes his time a little bit. It is a bad snap, but instead of taking 2 steps, he takes 3. And that enables Bo Orlando to get in there and get a piece of the ball. McDowell falls on it. 6 for the Oilers.
And soon to be 7. Outfield with the extra point. And it is good. And the Oilers move very quickly out in front by a score of 7-0.
Watch what happens when Horan takes the extra step. 1, 2, 3. That extra step enabled Orlando to get there, and there's McDowell waiting for it. Horan should have known with a bad snap he could only take 2 steps. That extra step enabled the Oilers to get themselves a touchdown.
Can you change from 3 steps to 2? Doesn't it throw you off? Would you be sticking with the wrong foot?
Certainly, it certainly can throw you off, but Horan has to know. He has to feel that pressure, know that he's got to get rid of it quick.
And here is the kickoff with Montgomery on the return again. And Denver will go to work on offense for the second time in the ballgame, trailing 7-0, and the Oilers have not been on offense.
Charlie, the special teams from the Oilers thus far in 3 plays have been outstanding. Twice now they've covered kicks inside the 20 and blocked a punt. If Denver's going to get in this game, I know it's way too early to say this is a crucial series, but they do have to get some first downs here.
And the ball just outside the 17-yard line. Gaston Green and Robert Perryman are the running backs. Perryman is there as a blocker, and Green turns the corner to the left side. They try and strip him of the ball, but somebody gets stripped of a shoe. Sean Jones was there. You said he was disgruntled. Why is Sean disgruntled?
Well, he felt like that he should be paid in one of the top 5 or 7 defensive linemen in the National Football League. What happened last year is he led the team with 12 sacks and felt that that was justified. Obviously, Houston felt that it was not, and of course they went out and they traded in anticipation of Sean holding out for a long time. They got Lee Williams. Now Lee Williams has been playing great, but he broke his arm 2 weeks ago against New England. Now the onus falls upon Sean Jones' shoulders for a great pass rush, and thus far he's really been showing his wares.
Second down. And here's Green again. And he picks up the first down. Bubba McDowell, who scored the touchdown, makes the tackle at the 33.
One of the things, obviously, that they like about Gaston Green is his quickness. You can see that right here from the outside, it looks like there's not much of a play. Now he finds a little seam, cuts back with a burst of speed, and gets 10 yards.
Stumbled a bit on the turf.
Yeah, but a lot of other backs in that situation, Charlie, run behind the offensive tackle or collide with the defensive end and fall down for about a 3-yard gain. Gaston Green showed some nice feet on the turf there.
And again, as you know by now, Elway calling his own plays, the plays that he is comfortable with. And he goes to Mark Jackson.
Simple comeback route by Mark Jackson. Richard Johnson on this side, who's had a little bit of a groin problem, probably playing back a little bit farther than he would anticipate. He turns him completely around. Easy play for the Broncos, and another first down.
Gain of 11, a first down for Denver at their own 44-yard line. So this drive entirely different than their opening drive. It ended up with a blocked punt. And Bubba McDowell recovering the ball in the end zone for an Oiler touchdown. Houston on top, 7-0. And here's Green bottled up, and he's going to lose a yard on the play as Lamar Lathan was there for the Oilers.
Nice backside pursuit by Lamar Lathan. You know, Charlie, last year they made him their first round pick, and many people felt like that he was Pardee's pet. You know, they didn't like the fact that this guy got all this money.
Pardee's pet?
Yeah. I mean, he played with him at Houston. You know, Pardee went from the Houston Oilers, or excuse me, from the Houston Cougars to the Houston Oilers, and Latham was a great athlete with the Cougars. He didn't do anything last year, and they said, hey, you've got to show us something this year, and he has. He's in the starting lineup. He has 28 tackles.
Jeff Ahm is in that offensive, the defensive set. It's second down and 11. Little swing right side, and it's incomplete. As Elway was feeling the heat, Johnny Meads was putting the pressure on him, and one of the things that the Oilers told us they had to do is to put the pressure on Elway.
Well, there, too, you saw Lamar Latham back there giving him a shot there at the end. This is kind of a swing screen. They let Latham go, and right there he and Meads, he says, welcome. I know I'm only a second-year guy, but I'm going to be in your face.
Third down and 11. The Broncos now with 4 wide receivers. Elway out of the shotgun. Steps forward, just dumps it off to Sewell. And he dives, and see where they mark it. It looks as if they're going to be a half-yard shy of the first down. Bubba McDowell finally stopped him.
That was a nice job by the side judges coming in. What you're going to see here is that he actually bounces about a half-yard before the first down marker. Sewell obviously was just in there to block. But at the last minute, Elway had nowhere to go. Sewell turns around. They're able to get a reasonable play and avoid the sack.
So it is fourth down, less than a yard. And Mike Horan is in to kick. Pat Coleman is the return man for the Oilers.
If there's ever a time for a fake punt, this might be it. Half yard to go at midfield. Too early in the game.
I'm just checking to see who the up back is going to be. Will it be
well, they got
Steve Sewell?
Kubiak is in right now, and he is the reserve quarterback. So now he's walking over the sidelines. I think they did have a fake going on there.
And what happened was somebody was late getting into that offensive line.
Oh, boy. Dan Reeves, you can see the consternation on his face. They did have something set up, and I was saying,
right.
wait a minute. Why is it the one guy wasn't out there? And in this case, it was number 62, Jeff Davidson, who normally is not on the punt team.
But he's on the fake team.
Lineman, but he's on the fake team. That's right.
And he forgot.
That's right.
Now, we're assuming that this is correct. If we're correct, Jeff, you're in big trouble. And, Jeff, if we're wrong, you're not in any trouble at all.
Well, the result was it cost them 5 yards to delay a game, and now they're definitely going to punt in this situation.
Pat Coleman still the return man.
Let's see if Horan takes 3 steps again. Nope. Took 2.
I thought he might take 1. Good coverage by Alton Montgomery of the Broncos. Houston on offense for the first time when we come back, and they lead 7-0.
The cars more people depend on. By Coors Light, the Silver Bullet is the right beer now. By Hewlett-Packard, keep those ideas coming and we'll keep making them look their best. And by Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars.
Jack Pardee, the head coach of the Houston Oilers. The Oilers moving on offense for the first time in the ball game, and they lead 7-0 courtesy of the block punt and the recovery in the end zone by Bubba McDowell. Push down Oilers to their own 15-yard line. And Moon hands off to Binkett, and he is going to lose about a yard on the play. Let's go back to that fake punt that we were talking about that the Denver Broncos were trying to set up.
Normally right here you see this is the up back, and this happens to be Gary Kubiak, the backup quarterback. Now look at him looking to the sidelines. Where is Jeff Davidson? Where is he? Now over here you're going to see all of a sudden he's going to come sprinting onto the field, albeit a little bit too late. Everybody's screaming for him. Where is he? Oh, here he comes. Here he comes. But by this time the clock has run down. They've run out of time. They can't do it. They have to punt.
2nd and 11. Gibbons is in motion. Moon to throw. And he opens up on target to Jeffrey. Let's take a look at the Houston offense. That offensive line, Maggs, Dawson, Matthews, Flannery, and David Williams. The backs and receivers, Warren, Moon, Pinkett, and then the 4 wide receivers, the Fab Four, Jeffries, Hill, Gibbons, and Duncan. Now, they will stay in this offense. Last year, they went to a jumbo offense on short yardage or at the line of scrimmage, but their head coach Jack Pardee told us yesterday that we kept fumbling the ball, so we decided to just junk that, and we'll stay with the 4 wide, the run and shoot. Gain of 14 to the 28, first down Houston. Moon back to throw, has good protection, comes over the middle, and the pass is incomplete, but a flag is down. Jeffries, the intended receiver, and a marker flag.
Steve Atwater comes up and he's trying to make an exclamation point, but he does a little bit early. Now, here's the interesting point. Now, I know that you're going to say, oh, this is a bad play. It's a penalty against the Broncos.
Pass interference, number 27 defense, first down.
But in effect, it only cost them 7 yards, and Steve Atwater sends a message to Haywood Jeffries if he's coming across the middle. Watch the hit that he takes, albeit early. Doesn't even see him coming. Bang! Takes it right up top. And he knows that next time he comes in there, there's going to be some traffic. So it only cost the Broncos 7 yards, and it definitely sent a message to those wide receivers. Don't come my way.
And one of the things that Dan Reeves told us for Denver's side, they want to force the wide receivers of Houston over the middle. They want to funnel them into their 2 strong safeties. Moon goes wide to the far side to Duncan. And let's check that Denver defense. Now watch this, because this is a form of the defense that they're in, and it's a bit different than what they normally have. 3 down linemen, 2 of which you will notice are linebackers. Only Cragen is the defensive lineman. And then they have 2 linebackers that are linebackers. That's Kroll and Brooks. Then they will show 6 in the secondary, and that includes 4 defensive cornerbacks, and then the 2 safeties, the strong safety and the free safety, Smith and Atwater. And that is, of course, a defense that is created to go against the Oilers' run and shoot. Second down and 7. The ball at the, oh, they're going to mark the ball at the 41-yard line. So it goes for a gain of 6, and it will be second down and 4 as they remark it from the 38 to the 41. Moon goes back to the far side to Gibbons. He slips the tackle. A good inside-out move. Oh! And treads the sideline, but he goes out at the 30-yard line.
One of the things that Warren Moon does so well is he's able to pick out the people in the secondary to pick on. In this case, it's Randy Robbins. Now, Randy Robbins is an excellent special teams player and a great backup strong safety, but he's not necessarily a great cover man. This is a mismatch. Gibbons versus Robbins. You can see him, he just leaves him right there. Nice move right there. He thought he was out of bounds right there. 29-yard gain. Terrific play by Ernest Gibbons, who 2 weeks ago was hobbled by a groin injury, but looks pretty good right there, I'd say.
The ball on the Denver 30-yard line. Houston leading by a score of 7-0, and they're driving again. The give this time is to Pickett, and for the second time, he's going to lose a yard. It'll go back to the 31. Second down and 11. It was Michael Brooks who got it. Let's check in now with a 10-minute ticker. No score in the Washington-Chicago game. Still scoreless Minnesota-Detroit, the Jets and Cleveland. And we have a technical problem in the other games, but we will correct that and have the other scores for you throughout the telecast of this game. One of the questions when we visited with Dan Reeves yesterday, I meant to ask him, why do you always wear a coat and tie on the sideline, or a coat, and in this case, since he's indoors a bit warm, he always dresses up, and not all the coaches do. Do you know the answer to that? No. I just thought maybe you would ask him. Stay alert. Don't take it. Yeah, don't give Todd's shirt to him for sure. And it is Todd. That is Drew Hill, who celebrated. Hang on to it, Drew.
No, they're going to come in now, and they say that he dropped it.
Oh, did he? I don't think so. Well, we'll take a look. Randy Robbins had the coverage. He was 35 years old yesterday.
On the inside, you can see number 85 on the deep in pattern. It looks like he catches it from the back. Where does the ball go? Oops. There it hits the ground right there and comes up right into his stomach. Good call by the official. A lot of times what happens here is if you can be shielded by all these bodies. There it comes right up. Terrific bounce, but the official is right on the spot.
So the birthday boy didn't get away with it. 3rd and 11. Gibbons is in motion. Moon has pressure, steps forward, and the pass is complete. He goes right back to Drew Hill. Dennis Smith was chasing him. It'll be a first down.
Drew Hill, what a terrific move he puts on Tyrone Braxton. He thinks he's going inside. Watch Tyrone Braxton completely get fooled here on the corner. Stumble out, can't stay with him. Terrific throw by Warren Moon. 21-yard gain, first down Oilers.
The ball at the 10-yard line.
You know, that's a very impressive statistic right there. He will be passing the great Charlie Hennigan, who, if you recall, well, look who I'm asking.
Yeah.
Of course you recall. You're broadcasting that.
I did his first game.
Had 101 catches one season. In fact, Charlie Hennigan last week was in Houston on business and said he was excited and proud of the fact that it was Drew Hill that was going to break his record.
And here is Pinkett to the 6-yard line, where it'll be second down and 6. And Warren Moon today is as on as he was off 2 weeks ago in that New England game, where he told us he was bothered by the flu, had some medication, but probably more than that was bothered by the short week and the beating that he took in the Kansas City game, because the Chiefs really beat up on him. He is 4 of 5 for 70 yards.
Well, you know, the thing I like about that too, Charlie, is that when we talked with him yesterday, he made no excuses. He said, well, I stunk. You know, he didn't sit there and debate it. You know, he was less than 50% for only the second time in the last 2 years. But he admitted that he just wasn't on, but he didn't make any excuses about being hurt or anything else, and now he's come back today.
He rolls right, throws back left, and he's going for Jeffries, who's the tallest at 6'2" of his receivers, and he overthrows him. It'll be third down.
The reaction you saw there by Warren Moon when he was waving him is he wanted Jeffries to make a sharper cut. What he did is he rounded his cut and enabled the safety to come and make the play on him close to the goal line, or rather the back of the end zone. Jeffries is going to run it in, but they're going to box him inside. He knows, Charles Dimmery knows that he has help inside. Robbins has him underneath, as does Atwater. I think in that situation, Warren should have been a little bit angered himself, because he's in effect throwing into triple coverage. Jeffries has been the leading receiver for the Oilers thus far with 22 catches.
3rd and 6 at the 6. Houston leading by a score of 7-0. They threaten again. And Pinkett is cut down at the 5-yard line. I'm surprised by that call.
I am too. I think what Warren anticipated there was he anticipated a blitz. And with the blitz, he felt like a draw play. He'd go the distance. But in this case, Denver did a nice job holding back. They had some spies waiting.
And remember, Houston started this drive back at their own 15-yard line some 12 plays ago. And here is Bobby Halfield in the field goal attempt.
You know, you mentioned that he is the son of Ian Halfield. Right there, you can see the holder, Frank Miotke. You know, he was cut in training camp, but the holder was Greg Montgomery, the punter, who was holding out. So when the season began, they said, what are we going to do? We don't have a holder. We got to bring this kid back. At the insistence of Halfield, because he was 8 for 9 with this kid holding. Now 9 for 10.
And he hit from 22 yards away. And the Oilers move on top by a score of 10-0, but there was a marker on the play. Flag dropped at the 9-yard line, so let's hold it for a minute.
As often happens down here on the wing, they will catch somebody holding. The wing man on the field goal has to block 2 guys coming in, and sometimes when he reaches his arm out, he will hook somebody. And I think that's what happened in this case.
Holding, 78, 10 yards, we'll replay.
That's on Don Maggs.
Well, Don Maggs isn't on the wing. In fact, he's the tackle in this situation there, the right tackle on top here. This is what you're looking at as the guy jumps over. He hooks his leg a little bit. You can see that Dennis Smith isn't very happy about that. He turns around and screams the officials, and I guess it worked. Having played that position, I remember Dennis Smith had blocked a couple of field goals jumping over the end like that. And so I remember a couple of times that I hooked his leg and got away with it. But in that case, Maggs didn't.
An attempt of 32 yards. So he's out of the automatic ring. And he leaves it to the right side, and it is no good. So that penalty cost him 3 points. We'll be back in a moment. With 3:46 left to go in the first period, the Houston Oilers in front of the Denver Broncos by a score of 7-0. A lot has been made of John Elway calling his own plays, but one of the problems is that he then had to let the sideline know the personnel that he wanted for the next play. So how are they doing that?
Yeah, it's not simply just calling the plays. He has to give sidelines. When you see John Elway go like this, he's not meaning hook 'em horns. What he means is he wants 2 backs. Right. When he goes like this, it's 1 back and 2 tight ends, as Charlie mentioned, the ace situation. And right here, when he holds up 4 fingers, that means 4 wide receivers.
And he goes to one of the wide receivers, and that is Michael Young. You know, so watching. See, now here he goes. Now the fifth speed, he's going to go with the same personnel. You know, now they're making a change, but that is only because that is a change at the same position. Either that or they've changed the signal since he told us yesterday,
yeah.
Which is always a possibility.
So much for our credibility.
That's right. Huh? I guess Reeves does not trust us.
That's right.
I can understand that, too. So it is 2nd and 4. And Shannon Sharp is in motion. Now he reverses, and the handoff is to Gaston Green.
Green shows a lot of power right there.
And we're going to pick up the signal. And the signal is, as you said, that is not hook 'em horns in this part of the country.
Well, actually, it is in this part of the country.
It is. You are right.
But today.
But today.
It means 2 backs.
So Perryman comes in because he doesn't want 2 running backs.
I feel so much better. You got one right.
And Green is shut down at the 28-yard line.
That's a terrific job by William Fuller. William Fuller sheds the block of the fullback and makes a terrific play. You know, William Fuller is underrated. He was one of the people that came over 5 years ago in the trade that enabled the Rams to get Jim Everett. And all he's done every year is come up with about 8-10 sacks, about 50, 60, 70 tackles, really man his position. In the meantime, the Sean Jones, the Ray Childresses, and the Lee Williams are the people that are getting all the attention. You can see right there, he leads the Oilers in sacks this year and really probably has never gotten his due.
So it's 2nd down and 12, and the ball at the Denver 28-yard line. Elway has a triple blitz that he's looking at. He's just throwing it away. Everybody was coming.
Now, fortunately for him, Gaston Green was in the neighborhood, but if you have any debate at home that this is intentional grounding, don't. Take a look when he gets rid of it. He's just throwing that. He's just getting rid of that ball. And once again, there's Lamar Lathan again, putting the heat on him.
3 linebackers were coming.
You know, I realize this is a subjective call, but, you know, in the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, Charlie, we've seen a lot of situations where the referee has made that call in situations that normally it's not intentional grounding. I think clearly there he was just getting rid of the ball.
But like you said, Green was close enough so you can't make the call. Elway 3 of 6, 27 yards through the air. Houston leading 7-0. Elway fires into coverage. The pass is complete. It'll be way short of the first down.
There's a late flag.
And the pushing, was it a face mask? A little pushing and shoving.
They had a cornerback blitz. Chris Dishman was coming right in Elway's face, and he read it. He had blitz coverage. He just threw it right to the man, but instead, big hit put on by the rookie Steve Jackson.
The penalty against Denver.
You know, Steve Jackson is one of 4 rookies for the Houston Oilers. You can see right there.
Holding.
He threw it quick. Watch him come off his man and put the big hit right there. Bang! Well, I was amazed that Mattia was able to hold on to that ball. Jackson, one of 4 rookie defensive backs. They had a collision last week. Lewis and Dumas collided in the secondary, enabling McMurtry to score that touchdown. And those young guns, evidently Party's got an awful lot of confidence in him. When we asked him that, he says, hey, they can all play. That's why we kept 4 rookies.
Here comes pressure again on the kicker, and he gets it away. Coleman takes it, and he's down at the 13 to 14-yard line. The crowd wanting a penalty, but he had not been touched down.
No, what happened?
Shannon Sharp was there, 53 yards on the kick.
One of the things that he ran past, and he never touched him. The crowd doesn't understand why they should be booing, because you'll see Shannon Sharp ran right past him, didn't touch him. Good job by the official on non-call. We'll have the Oilers offense when we come back.
It's not easy being a truck.
Like a rock.
The Chargers. Lightning and thunder. Next.
Jack Pardee, the head coach of the Houston Oilers, coach of the year in 4 different leagues.
You know what else, Charlie? He is in 5 different Hall of Fames, and he also was voted into the 40th anniversary Redskin all-star team. He was a linebacker on that team. And let me tell you, as a player, it makes a big difference when you got a coach that has done it. It isn't just talking about it.
Houston with the ball. And Moon comes out throwing. Tony Jones is in as one of the 4 wide receivers. And this one is caught by Givens. And suddenly, the Oilers are in Denver territory at the Broncos 48.
Excellent pass coverage by the Houston Oilers. They're going to come with 5, but Warren has all the time. There he sits and waits and waits. They push him off to the left. This was intentional. He threw this behind because he saw that Robbins had his back turned. Ernest Givens comes back and makes the catch, and once again, there's Randy Robbins, a strong safety on Ernest Givens. Warren Moon's aware of this, and he's going to pick on that Denver secondary as long as they isolate Givens with a strong safety.
When we talked to Chris Dishman, the cornerback for the Oilers, he said, who is the toughest to defend? Elway or Moon? He said, Moon is because he looks you off, so you try and read his eyes. He said he sees him in practice all the time. And he will, there, he looks right, comes back left, knows where Givens is, and he hits him. And he is down at the 33-yard line. Gain of 15, first down.
Well, to say that Warren Moon is on today is an understatement. And now I guess it really doesn't matter who's covering Ernest Givens. Here he comes in the deep end. Just what you said. He looks off to the right, comes back. There's Givens open in the middle of the field. Just enough of a look to make Dennis Smith go the different direction.
That is the end of the first quarter with the score, Houston 7 and Denver nothing. Welcome back to the Astrodome, where the Houston Oilers are in front of the Denver Broncos by a score of 7-0. And as we start the second quarter, that score not indicative of how the Oilers have dominated the opening moments of this play. Drew Hill is in motion. And Mood gives to Pinkett. And Allen will go to the 28-yard line. He'll have about 5. It'll be second down.
Kevin Gilbride is the offensive coordinator. The 41-year-old from South Connecticut has done a nice job. Last year, you know, they're going through the pains of the run and shoot. And there on the left of your screen, you can see what they did. Yeah, 320 yards passing. But look at the point differential between last year and this. And, of course, the key, too, is rushing. Almost twice as much this year. And Kevin told us that that was intentional. They had to establish the running game, and the balance has enabled them to have that 3-1 record thus far.
Second down and 5. Hill comes in motion. Moon throws a deep timing pattern. It is intercepted in the end zone. Wyman Henderson has the interception. There was a miscommunication because he was looking for Givens, and Givens was way over in the corner.
So one bad pass that Warren Moon has thrown today. He's got excellent protection. He sets back, looks left, comes back right, throws to the post. There's nobody there. Dennis Smith actually makes the play. That's the old tip drill for defensive backs. Tony Jones is instead of the post, he's on the end. He's not deep enough. Warren Moon's not very happy with himself. Can't understand it. What's going on?
So Denver has the ball following the interception in the end zone and the touchback at their own 20-yard line, first down. And here's Gaston Green. Green's going to get a couple to the 22. It'll be second down and 8. Al Smith, the leading tackler for the Oilers, brings him down. And now let's take a look at the 10-minute Fram ticker. Chicago and Washington, no score. Minnesota in front of Detroit, and Jets in front of Cleveland, 7-0. No score, Philadelphia and Tampa Bay, and New England in front of Miami, 7-0. Well, maybe there is something going on in New England. No score, Dallas and Green Bay, and Seattle leads Cincinnati, 7-0. That's a kind of a quirky little score. Second down and 8. Here the score is Houston 7 and Denver 0. We're in the second quarter. Here's the draw, Gaston Green. Oilers are taking the run away. Ray Childress makes the tackle. It'll be third down.
And one of the reasons, too, you can see on the bottom of the pile is Al Smith. Al Smith, the middle backer, in their new 4-3 has turned into what I believe is really a Pro Bowl candidate. He's had 40 tackles in the first 4 games. He's been their leading tackler 2 of the last 3 years. And one of the things that Jim Eddy, the defensive coordinator for the Houston Oilers, told us is this is a guy that can go sideline to sideline. He is a terrific defender.
And there is Jim Eddy. He does get excited just explaining. He's got the hand signal. I thought he was going to knock the chair over when we were talking to him.
He was born to coach.
Third and 7. Elway from the shotgun. Sewell is back as a bodyguard. Has a bit of pressure. Pass is complete. He'll pick up the first down. He goes to Derek Russell, the rookie out of the University of Arkansas, and the Razorback taken in the 4th round of the draft picks up the first down. Orlando and Johnson make the stop.
Well, Jim Eddy told us yesterday that one of the problems in the secondary was that Richard Johnson still had a bad groin. He's the one that's on Russell right there, and it's a standard slant pass. He sees it coming. Not very happy about it. The body English doesn't have anything. That's great, isn't it?
It is. This is intercepted by Houston. This is Dishman down the sideline. And he is going to be tripped up at the 1-yard line. Was it Elway who got him? 41 yards on the return. And remember yesterday when we talked to Dishman, he said, what's the difference? He said, this year I'm taking the films home or the tapes home, and I'm looking at them. Last year I took them home, and I taped them over with a movie.
Well, in this case, the Denver Bronco film, he must have known something. This is not a good pass by John Elway. He overthrows the hook right there to Natil, but this is a great athletic move because he was coming up to make the hit. He's able to reach back and make the catch.
And it was Elway. Yes, they got him.
Actually, probably should have been out of bounds closer to the 5-yard line, but still, that was a great move by Dishman to make the play and steal the pass from Elway.
Just outside the 1-yard line. First down, goal to go Houston. Pickett, he leans. He's got it. And Houston goes up by 2 touchdowns.
In forging their 4-1 record, Charlie, the key to the Denver success, besides Gaston Green and John Elway, has been Denver's ability to take the ball away from their opponents. Thus far, that's exactly what Houston has done to Denver. Both touchdowns a result of turnovers. Nice job on the left side of the line by Doug Dawson getting a push, and Pinkett able to fall over for the touch.
And Halfield will attempt the extra point. And he's got it. With 12:03 time remaining in the first half, Houston on top 14-0. Zone signals where he carries a wristband with him that has the plays on it.
Yeah, you know, you think that after 9 years in the league you'd have memorized them by now, but no, that helps him to remind him he's able to look down. But I have some advice for John.
That's right. This is a play from Todd.
Got to throw to that tight end, baby.
Look at it. He's looking at it. Yeah. Is it the same man? He may be ready. If he comes out throwing to the tight end, there's something going on that I don't know about. Montgomery and Clark are the deep men on the return. And here's Montgomery. Excellent special team coverage. Victor Jones was there. Now there's one other thing that is going on with Elway calling his own plays, is that he then, or one of the other players in the offense, and we never could find out which one. One of the other players, as you look now at Dishman, he gets set to go on defense. But they signal the play that Elway calls to the sideline to Reeves, who then tells the coaches upstairs so they know what play is coming, so they can chart it better to see what's going to work.
Why? We're going to look over film on Monday anyway. They'll be able to figure it out.
No, they want to know now.
I don't think that's necessary.
Well, it gives coaches something to do during the game. Elway looks right, comes back, throws left. It is high, tip, and drop. Oh, right in the hands of Richard Johnson. And Houston could have put it away.
Well, there's no excuse for this. Look at how soft it gets tipped now. That's an easy catch. Just grab a, oh boy, that's one that'll be driving him crazy. Hit him between the 2 and the 3. Ricky Natil goes up, can't hold on to. That's a very catchable ball. But as I say, that's an easy interception.
Well, that's the only thing they've dropped today.
Once again, that was a nice hit by Al Smith to separate Natil from the ball. Al Smith seems to be all over the field today.
2nd and 10. Elway, a little swing to Gaston Green. It's incomplete. He had to get rid of it before he wanted to, as Sean Jones was chasing him.
Look at the beleaguered look on his face. I'm surprised that right. Yeah.
Wait. 4 wide receivers. You guys call this one. I'm tired of this play.
I was waiting for him to take out the thing. I remember one time Tom Flores told me, he says, 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3, 3rd and 1. He says, everybody wants to call the play. He says, when it's 3rd and 10, all of a sudden I found myself as an orphan, all alone. And that's the way John Elway must feel right now, 3rd and 10.
Denver has converted only 1 of 4 third down opportunities. Houston on top 14-0. Elway says Ford has pressure. The question is going to be, was it a fumble or an incomplete pass?
The referee came in and did not signal that it was a forward pass, so that is a fumble depending upon who came up with it. It is not an incomplete pass. Nice play once again by Sean Jones, who's a man possessed.
And Houston recovers at the bottom of the stack. Jones and Fuller both were the last players up. And it is Fuller who got it.
Sean Jones able to make his way past Jeff Davidson right here. Strips the ball, and there it comes loose. William Fuller comes in. It comes off of Sean Jones's elbow. There it's bouncing around. Nobody knows. Look, it's between Sean Jones's legs. He's looking around. Where is it? Why is everybody fighting at my knees? Because the ball is between his legs. Sean Jones is having a field day over Jeff Davidson, who's not having his best day, not only giving up 2 sacks and now this fumble, but he, of course, was the man who did not get in time for that fake punt.
Play is being reviewed. It's been ruled a fumble on the field.
I don't think there's any doubt.
It was a good call, yes. And a good call by the referee. It's his call right behind the quarterback.
He's not in the throwing motion.
No?
He is in the throwing motion.
After
the ball
was away.
gone.
Yeah.
Long gone before his arm comes forward.
So Houston will have the ball at the Denver 13-yard line, first down. I still can't figure out why it takes him so long in the replay booth. We call it immediately.
Well, of course. I know it's only the 5th game of the season, but it appears by the way he's playing today, Sean Jones is in a salary drive. and he understands a lot about money because in the offseason he lives in Santa Monica and he works as a broker for Dean Witter.
We talked about Warren Moon, the fact that he is throwing so much better than he did 2 weeks ago against New England. When we talked to him, it's going to stand. When we talked to him, what did he do, during the off week? And Warren Moon said to us that one of the things he did, he talked to his mother. He said, did your mother give you any advice? And, mothers always do. What was the advice? And she said, don't force it into too deep cover.
Well, not too many mothers are that astute. That's great.
Lorenzo White is now the running back, his first appearance, and he gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Ron Holmes made the tackle.
I asked Lorenzo White yesterday if it was a potentially dangerous situation with you and Pinkett back there. Of course, Alan Pinkett started the season with 200-yard games, and he's 7th in the AFC coming into this game, having had a bye week. So the running game has gone very well with Alan Pinkett. Lorenzo White was a holdout, but last week against the New England, or 2 weeks ago rather, against the New England Patriots, he had 8 carries for 53 yards. And so as a result, he's going to be seeing increased playing time. But he doesn't like the fact that they have to share the load. In fact, I don't know any running back of those.
Here's the throw. And he throws right into coverage. The intended receiver, Drew Hill, in reality, stripped the ball away from Randy Robbins. Robbins was set for the interception.
Well,
he almost could have called offensive pass interference.
I was about to say, as much as I've been getting on Robbins earlier about having to cover Ernest Givens, he did a nice job there. He anticipated the delay route by Hill and was waiting for it. And Hill actually, as you say, made a good defensive play to prevent the turnover.
10-minute ticker, no score. Washington, Chicago, Minnesota up 2 touchdowns. Jets up by 1 in their ball game. No score, Philadelphia, Tampa Bay. New England still leads Miami. No score, Dallas, Green Bay. And Seattle, Cincinnati now tied at 7. And here the score, Houston 14 and Denver nothing. And Houston with another golden opportunity. Here's White, a straight shot up the middle, spins inside the 5, dives to about the 3-yard line. It'll be close to the first down. Lorenzo White at 5'11", 222 pounds. Said during the offseason for the first time he worked on his leg strength, and it was always there before. He's watching the replay to see how he looks.
Well, believe me, it paid off. Take a look. He's going to get stopped right around the 6 or 7 yard line. Look at the power he shows. That's Dennis Smith, Randy Robbins. Those are tough tacklers. Look at him pushing forward despite the efforts of the Broncos to get the first down. That's the added dimension that he has back there that Pinkett does not. Pinkett, only 190-pounder, does not have the same power as Lorenzo White does.
3-yard line, first down, goal to go. White has a couple of yards to the 1. It'll be 2nd down and goal to go.
Your point about Lorenzo White is very interesting. People might say to themselves, what, are you kidding me? I said, this guy's never worked on his legs. But you know, in the National Football League, there are some people that can get that far on natural ability alone. And Lorenzo White, of course, was a record-setting running back there at Michigan State, and I guess he took it for granted. Last year, near the end of the season, he got tired and said, maybe it's time that I do some squats and some leg work. And
when you ask him if he'd like to carry the ball 18 to 20 times a game, he had this big smile. I mean, he had a big
He did indeed. And look at the pins on this guy. He's got some serious thighs. He generates some power from those legs.
Second down, goal to go. Here is White to the outside. He's got it.
It's a nice job on the left side of the line for the Houston Oilers, just collapsing the defensive end. I believe Simon Fletcher there. Watch Maggs on the far right of your screen just come down, crush two guys. He actually gets a piece of Atwater and Brooks. Very nice job by both Maggs and Dawson on the left side, caving it in, enabling the Oilers to take a 3-touchdown lead.
13 yards on the drive, 5 plays following the fumble recovery. The extra point is good, and Houston moves on top 21-0.
Whoa, he looked scarier 25 years ago.
Did I?
You looked...
With someone you know, call 1-800-HOLIDAY or your travel agent for reservations. By Canon Bubble Jet Personal Printers. Laser quality at dot matrix prices. And by Fram Oil Filters. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later.
Welcome back to the Astrodome, where the Houston Oilers are in front of the Denver Broncos by a surprising score of 21-0.
There we see Doug Dawson, one of the great offensive linemen for the Houston Oilers. That is an impressive graphic right there. They know how to build. They know that the substance of both the pass and run game is in that offensive line. All of them either first or second round picks. The offensive line for the Houston Oilers are premium players.
Outfield kicking off to either Montgomery or Clark. And it is Montgomery at the 5-yard line. Alton is through the 15, hit at the 16, and down around the 20, the 21-yard line. We've got a timeout. We'll step aside for a moment and come back to the Astrodome. With 8:56 left to go in the second quarter, and Houston up by 3 touchdowns, the Oilers have won. And listen to this: the Oilers have run 20 offensive plays. This will be the 20th offensive play for the Broncos. He thinks it will be a lot more one-sided, but he's not. Denver from their own 21-yard line, first down. And here's Gaston Green. And the Oiler defense has effectively shut him down. The pride and tradition of Notre Dame football continues on NBC. Yesterday, Pittsburgh defeated Maryland by a score of 24-0. 24-20, excuse me, I'm sorry. And Notre Dame, this was last night at Stanford, defeated Stanford 42-26. And that sets up next Saturday. We'll come back with that note right after this play. Elway for a side pass is incomplete. And what that means, of course, is that next Saturday here on NBC, Pitt now with a perfect 5-0 record against Notre Dame at home with a 4-1 record. Coverage begins at 1 p.m. Eastern time with Notre Dame Saturday. And Elway now continues to struggle. It is 3rd down and 10. The total yards.
Almost 3-1.
Elway from the shotgun, little shovel pass to Sewell. The Oilers end up with the ball. It is Dishman again, and a touchdown.
Now what happens there, Charlie, with what's called as the old Utah pass? He's going to argue with the official that that was not a fumble, but instead an incompletion. Now that is not a lateral, that is a forward pass. So if Sewell dropped it, that is an incompletion, not a fumble. That's what Elway is discussing with the official right now on the field. Did Sewell have it long enough? William Fuller does a nice job of making this play. He's not fooled. Watch the shovel pass. Did he have it long enough?
No, it's incomplete.
All right. Then he's got a legitimate complaint, but Dishman is smart, picking it up and running it in. They'll certainly replay this, but I agree with you. That was an incomplete forward pass, and it should be 4th down for the Broncos. You know, even if this doesn't happen, Chris Dishman has been amazing. He has had a turnover in 4 of the last 5 games they have played. Does Sewell have the ball long enough? No. The ball's up there on his shoulder pads. He never caught it. That should be an incomplete pass.
Now it'll be reviewed and it'll be overturned.
Completed pass and a touchdown. That's the ruling on the field. The play is being reviewed.
The ruling on the field, a completed pass, as you saw. It was not a completed pass. This is one of the prime reasons that they have the instant replay. They will overrule it. And we'll look again at it, and we'll look again at real speed.
The question is simply whether or not Sewell has it long enough for a catch. He bobbles right there. Never has it.
Never had it.
And you can see right there, John Elway knows that it's incomplete, and he went over to the official to make his point. Even if it isn't, take Chris Dishman. Boy, is he having a terrific season. A couple of years ago, when he was under the Jerry Glanville regime, he got the reputation of being a dirty player. It seemed like a game didn't go by where he didn't get a personal foul or do something or run his mouth in the press and alienate people around the league. Now, since Jack Pardee came in, he's decided that, look, I'm going to focus and be a player. And that's exactly what's happened over the last 2 years. And this year in particular, he's playing at a Pro Bowl level.
Now we're going to go back and take another look, and this will be in slow motion. Even in slow motion, he doesn't have possession long enough.
It's a nice reaction by William Fuller. You can see now what Elway's reaction is simple. He doesn't even bother to chase the guy. He knows it's incomplete. That's just he looks back at the official. It's incomplete, right? And the official didn't say so, and that's when he got in his face.
And as you know, the review has to be made in 2 minutes. We have a clock on it. We're just past the minute 35-second mark.
Watch that man explode if it's a touchdown for the Oilers.
Here's the call.
After further review, the play stands as called.
Oh, that's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. If they're going to do that, then they ought to get rid of the instant replay. Either that or they're looking at something different than we are.
Dan Reeves has a legitimate complaint.
Oh, yeah.
That was not a good call.
Yeah.
Charlie, earlier in the week, I was taking a look at some of the... I'll get to the story after the break.
All right, here's the extra point attempt. And it is good. And the Oilers now lead 28-0. 8 minutes and 9 seconds. Time remaining in the first half. It is Houston 28 and Denver nothing. No question that the Oilers have dominated the ballgame. But that last touchdown, I do think is tainted.
Yeah, I agree. That was unfortunate.
Okay, we've done that. Now, Alfield will be kicking off to either Alvin Montgomery or Kevin Clark. And this one is going to go out of bounds.
Charlie, as I had a chance to look over some of the quotes the players had, John Elway after the Minnesota game was saying, you know, before these 2 dome games, before Minnesota and Houston, he said, you know, I'd have been happy if we'd have won 1 out of 2. Now he says we got a chance to win 2 out of 2. But see, that's not the kind of attitude you can have going into a game. You can't be just happy to be there. And I think in a lot of cases, the players we were talking to yesterday kind of echoed that sentiment that, well, you know, we got over that jinx. We beat a team on AstroTurf and in the dome away from home. And now, well, we're just kind of here. And, boy, it's really shown in the first half the way they're playing down 4 touchdowns. Now, this is the argument right here is that Doug Smith had a big celebration in the end zone. He was penalized the 5 yards. So instead of this going out to the 35, they're claiming they should go out to the 40-yard line. That's what the official's doing. This is the result of the celebration in the end zone by Doug Smith. But, I mean, how much of a dance could he have had at 312 pounds?
Not a lot, but it shook. It shook the dome. All right, Denver down 28-0. First down from their own 40. Now Elway has some protection. He runs out with it. And he goes out of bounds as he just steps past the 50-yard line. So he will pick up the first down. It's now time for our Xerox Sports Facts. Who won the first AFL game ever played? And we'll have the answer for you in a couple of plays.
You know what? I'm not going to take a guess, but as I recall, wasn't that on your 50th birthday?
You're not going to take a guess. You're the one that came up with the questions. Don't give me that. I'm not going to take a guess. I had another question. I like my question better.
Right?
I may do.
The first AFL game was played on your 50th birthday. Isn't that right?
That's right. And you fumbled the ball. Elway to throw. And he goes deep. And a flag is down.
Good call by the official. Richard Johnson runs smack into Michael Young. The debate here is whether or not it's going to be pass interference or if it's going to be illegal contact. And since everybody's sprinting down there, I assume they're going to call pass interference.
When we talked to Michael Young yesterday, we asked him about his speed. He said, well, it's somewhere between 4.49 my fastest and 4.55 my slowest.
He has taken a very circuitous route to being...
Number 23 defense. First down.
It'll be pass interference with Richard Johnson at the 26-yard line.
Well, there's not much debate about this. He does an out and up, and Richard Johnson's totally fooled. So right there, he collides with Michael Young. The official's right on top of it. Good call by the official. I was about to say, a circuitous route for Michael Young. He spent 4 years with the Rams in a reserve role. Goes to plan B, and now with the injury to Vance Johnson, the knee problems he had earlier in the season, Michael Young is a leading receiver for the Broncos with 18 catches.
He may not have world-class speed, but he has world-class hands. Green with world-class hands pulls it in at the 15-yard line. Good reception.
I'll say. Reach back with the left hand, but there's a flag on the field.
It'll be holding against the Broncos. They'll bring it back.
If you could read lips, you could see him say holding number 76 on the white. In this case, that's Ken Lanier, the right tackle. Ken Lanier has been with the Broncos since both he and Dennis Smith last week.
Holding, 76 offense, 10 yards. First down.
Last week when Dan Reeves got his 100th victory, he gave game balls to both Ken Lanier and Dennis Smith, and the reason was that they had been there with him since the outset. The only two players that had been with Dan Reeves his entire tenure as coach of the Broncos.
First and 20, 36-yard line. Elway again to throw. And this one is incomplete to Michael Young. Now let's go back to our Xerox Sports Facts and the answer. Who won the first AFL game ever played? The Denver Broncos defeated the Boston Patriots by a score of 13-10. It was on September the 9th. That was a Friday night, 1960, and it was played at Braves Field.
Now, how do you know that it was a Friday night?
Because I did the game on Saturday night, September the 10th, in the Coliseum in Los Angeles. Was the first game ever televised.
Is that right?
It was the Dallas Texans and the then Los Angeles Chargers.
I was 4 years old.
Congratulations. It is second down. I'm surprised you made it that far. Here's Elway. Right on the line of scrimmage. The pass is incomplete. He was not past the line of scrimmage. Mark Jackson, the intended receiver.
Now, Bubba McDowell is screaming because Mark Jackson had a hold of him prior to his chance to make the interception. You know, this inevitably happens. You can see that.
You're still thinking about what I said.
Yeah.
I know you are.
Okay, so I was 4 years old. Big deal. John Elway does a nice job, as he always does, with his mobility. He breaks contain, gets outside to the left, going to his left, throws to his right. Now Mark Jackson actually has a hold of Bubba McDowell here. Look at the right arm. He can't pull it out because Mark Jackson's pulling it back.
This is Denver.
Sure doesn't intercept.
This is Denver's 7th possession. The first one they had a punt block for a touchdown. Then they punted, interception, fumble. Houston touchdown, fumble, Houston touchdown. Flag is down, tip, incomplete. The Broncos have really been struggling.
I'll tell you the other thing John Elway has struggled the most. You know, coming into this game, Charlie, in 5 games, he only had 1 interception. You know, right there was another one dropped. And, of course, you talk about the one that Richard Johnson dropped. He should have about 4 or 5 interceptions in the first half alone. He's really not on it today. Offsides against the Oilers will enable the...
They'll have another 3rd down opportunity.
Ray Childress not one to argue too much, the 2-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle, but he didn't feel like he was offsides.
Now, why are they having a conference for an offsides?
Discussing the various and sundry idiosyncrasies inherent in the neutral zone.
Gosh, I wish I'd have said that.
There is no play. The play is negated by a false start. Number 67 prior to the snap. The offsides and the defense does not count.
Now,
3rd down.
That reaction says it all right there by Dan Reeves. You know, if Murphy's Law applies, it applies today. Everything is going wrong. Doug Weidel, watch to the left of your screen. Watch the rocking that takes place here by the guard. Yep, he sure did.
He did.
Rock back just enough. Good call by the official.
And the ball goes back back to the 41-yard line. It is 3rd down and 25.
Doug Liddell, part of the brother combination for the Denver Broncos. His brother Dave had been playing left guard prior to this game when Sean Farrell came back from his shoulder injury to take his place.
Elway wants to go deep. Now he's just going to scramble. He is past the marker, and the pass is incomplete.
And absolutely nobody saw it. I mean,
yeah, there's a flag drop to the other side, but he was past the line of scrimmage. Derek Russell, the intended receiver, and rookie Mike Dumas was there, one of the young guns for Houston.
You know, even though nothing happened in this play, you certainly have to appreciate the sheer athleticism of John Elway back there in the pocket. He took on kind of a dirty dancing thing with his feet. It was amazing that he was able to get out of there and come to his left.
He's a great athlete. And was also swamped in the lobby this morning when he came down the escalator.
Ball was thrown from beyond the line. 5 yards. Less loss of down. 4th down.
Everybody wanted his autograph today.
Last week against the Minnesota Vikings, he only threw for 82 yards, but he led them to victory, and this is what got him there. Take a look at the feet. Look at how he evades the rush. In, out, in, back again. Full circle 360. Now Lamar Lathan right there, that linebacker, that's 4.5 speed right there, unable to get John Elway. Escapability is a key to a lot of the success of the quarterbacks in the National Football League.
And the Oilers are coming. His pressure, he gets it away. Flag is down. And it goes into the end zone. But there was a marker at the 44-yard line. We have 6 minutes and 24 seconds left in the second quarter. The Oilers up 28-0. The Oilers were offsides. Somebody got an early start trying to get to the kicker, Mike Horan. So where's the coach? Just decline. I'm learning to read lips.
Offsides, defense, penalty is declined. 4th down. It's 1st down the other way.
Well, they haven't had their best day, but that's all right. I tell you, the Oilers are having their best day.
Oh, I tell you.
Here's the 10-minute ticker. Washington in front of Chicago, 10-0. Minnesota up 2 touchdowns on Detroit. Jets up 2 touchdowns on Cleveland. No score, Philadelphia and Tampa Bay. New England still leading Miami now at 7-3. Dallas leading Green Bay 7-0. Seattle, Cincinnati tied. And here, Houston 28 and Denver nothing. And the Oilers from their own 20.
Carl Mecklenburg had been sick the last week. He had a little flu. He dropped clear to 222 pounds.
Moon comes over the middle, and the pass is complete to Tony Jones, and he is dropped by Randy Robbins.
And I was telling him yesterday, because of the run and shoot offense, we realized that he was going to have to play a lot of defensive end today. And I said, how are you going to play defensive end, you know, just coming up from 222 pounds now to his normal playing weight of 238? And he says, well, he says, I'll just have to outquick them. He says, if they catch me, they catch me.
But he also said the fact, he said, I will be going against an offensive lineman, the same one for several plays. I'll get a chance to find out what he's going to do rather than moving around like I can't even pick up anybody's tendency. Second down and 7. I tried to rush through that. Does that make any sense what I said?
No, as usual.
Here is White, the ball carrier. And a couple yards to the 26. It's 3rd down and 4. Steve Atwater with the tackle. 5 minutes, 27 seconds time remaining in the first half. And the score again, Houston 28 and Denver nothing. Their first touchdown came on a block punt. Pinkett scored the second one from a yard out after a Dishman interception. White scored the third one from a yard out after a fumble recovery. And Dishman scored the 4th touchdown from 19 yards away when he picked up a fumble. Third down and 4. Moon fires. Gibbons has it at the 50. To the 40. A high step. Inside move, but he made the high step. They caught him. Tyrone Brown Braxton finally got it.
This is an excellent throw, but watch the block by Lorenzo White to the right of your screen. Just turns Mecklenburg right on his head, enabling Warren Moon to find Givens in the middle of the field. And he's taken a page from Walter Payton. Remember Walter used to do this, bring up the high step?
I thought it was a quick kick for a minute.
Came with a blitz right here. Warren Moon right with Simon Fletcher in his face. That's what separates Warren Moon with some of the rest of the quarterbacks in the league. Right in his face. He's still on the money 25 yards downfield.
And 49 yards on the play. A first down at the 25-yard line. Drew Hill is in motion. Warren to Hill, and he steps out of bounds. He'll go out at the 22, gain of 3. So it'll be second down and 7.
Lorenzo White put another staggering block on Carl Mecklenburg. Watch from the left of your screen. Watch Lorenzo White come over. Here comes Mecklenburg. Bang! Lifts him up and pushes him back. Ooh, ouch. That's one that Mecklenburg's not going to want to look at in the films on Monday. Once again, that's the dimension that Lorenzo White affords the run and shoot offense that Alan Pinkett does not. At 222 pounds, he is an excellent blocker.
And one of the things that Warren Moon said about the running backs is not only the punishment that they take carrying the ball, but the punishment they take in this offense blocking for Warren Moon.
Yeah, but those last 2 plays, Lorenzo White was the one dishing out the punishment.
A little bobble on the snap from center. And Warren scrambles for a couple to the 20-yard line. It'll be third down and 5.
Actually, a smart play by Warren Moon. Steps back, makes 2 yards out of what could have been a turnover.
Bruce Matthews is the center, number 74. When we talked to him yesterday, we reverted back to last year when we visited with him. He said he didn't like this offense because he couldn't knock anybody down. He said with the re-emphasis on the run, he said, I like it a lot better. I can knock people down.
And he also didn't mention the fact that he renegotiated a contract which made him the highest paid offensive lineman in the league. And that's something that can make you pretty happy,
You
too.
always bring up money. Stay with us at halftime. The Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report. I'll have more on that right after this play. Houston has converted 3 of 4 third down opportunities. This is third down and 5. Moon comes back over the middle. Pass is complete to Jeffries at 4-yard line. Ball pops loose. The play has been blown dead at the 3. Dennis Smith and friends make the tackle.
Haywood Jeffries very excited. You know, when we were in the parking lot yesterday, we got to see his Ferrari. That was some kind of car. But here it's Jeffries showing the speed and quickness right there in the middle of the field. Terrific catch and avoiding the hit of Steve Atwater. That was nice concentration there by Haywood Jeffries to get the ball and get it downfield.
And the play was blown dead way before the ball came out.
Now, if he'd have been in the end zone, this might have been a 5-yard penalty, but right there, yeah, sheer jubilation. Another catch from me, and we're heading in for our 5th touchdown.
And the 2-minute warning. We'll step aside for a moment. We'll come back. Oilers third in the NFL in scoring. Warren Moon in this ball game, 10 of 14, 197 yards. 4 passes to Givens for 132, 2 to Jeffries for 31, 2 to Hill for 24, 1 to Jones for 4, 1 to Duncan for 6 yards. He spreads it around.
He does indeed.
3-yard line, first down goal to go. And they stay in their 4 wide receiver set, and this pass is complete. Touchdown. Jeffries. Now watch him. He goes into the stands or right to the edge to celebrate. How much are they going to let him get away with? They'll let him get away with that.
Yeah, I haven't seen a flag. You know, Charlie, this is a design play. It's a play that originally started with Terry Bradshaw and John Stallworth. Instead of making it look like a fade, or rather, Jeffries does a nice job of making it look like a fade, and then he comes back, and Warren throws the ball before. Watch, it's going to look like a fade. He'll just come right back, and Warren will throw it behind the defender. Right there. He's anticipating the fade. That's actually pretty good coverage by Charles Dimry, but there's nothing you can do. Warren Moon, arguably the most accurate passer in the National Football League.
I'm not sure there's any argument there. An 80-yard drive in 7 plays, and the extra point is good. The reaction of Warren Moon.
You know, coming out of the break, you can see Kevin Gilbride say, we're going to try this new play. And it is a new play, and he likes it because now he knows that's another, as if they needed it, something else to add to the arsenal. Warren Moon with over 200 yards today. You know, he was one of those people that felt the pressure from you know, the media and everybody else, because down here he is to Houston what Michael Jordan is to Chicago. I mean, Warren Moon, man of the year and everything else. You know, after the first 3 weeks, they're heading to the Super Bowl. They lose to New England, and all of a sudden Warren Moon can't throw deep.
Here's a program note for those of you across the country watching this game. When we come back in the second half, some of you are going to be going to another ball game. Some of you will be joining the Miami-New England game. Miami is leading New England now by a score of 10-7. Those watching in the Mountain Time Zone and those watching in the state of Texas will stay with this ball game. The rest of you will be switching away to the Miami-New England game. We're glad that you could be with us in the first half and say hello to everybody in the second half for us.
Oh, that's great. The Rocky Mountain stays, huh?
Yeah.
That means my kids can watch.
That's right, in Utah.
Good deal.
All right, here we go. Ian Halfield, the son of Bobby Halfield, will kick off high and short. Montgomery takes it at the 15. Spins loose at the 21-yard line and picks up a 3, maybe 4 more yards. Don't forget to be with us at halftime. The Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report with Bob Costas, O.J. Simpson, and Bill Parcells. They're bringing you up to date all the action around the league. And Bob will also be speaking to Howie Long. That's all coming up at halftime. You know what he's going to talk to Howie about?
I have no idea.
I can't say you have no idea. You're supposed to have some idea.
They're going to... I think they both have the same hairstylist. Mr.
Maybe
Raoul.
they're going to talk about the game, the second half of the doubleheader that a lot of people will see across the country.
Good point.
Think that might be?
That could be. If you asked.
And that, of course, the San Diego Chargers and the Los Angeles Raiders. What do you think about that matchup?
Well, I think that San Diego has to get some...
Am I keeping you from something? What is it?
I was going to say, you know, San Diego's struggling. They're 0-5. But, you know, they've shown a good running game. Both Marion Butts and Rod Bernstein are averaging over 5 yards a carry. So maybe they should keep it on the ground, take some time off the clock, and they'd have a shot against the Raiders in the Coliseum.
All right, let's check in with a 10-minute ticker. Washington in front of Chicago by a score of 10-0. Which reminds me that next weekend we'll be in Washington, D.C. They'll be hosting Cleveland. Minnesota 2 touchdowns up on Detroit. The Jets leading Cleveland 14-0. No score between Philadelphia and Tampa Bay there at halftime. And that Miami-New England game is close in the second quarter. And a lot of you will be joining that game in the second half. Dallas 14, Green Bay nothing. Seattle and Cincinnati are tied at halftime 7-7. Now, those of you that have been following the Houston Oilers, what Todd was saying, they expected so much of them, and 2 weeks ago they kind of fell on their faces against the New England Patriots, and these were the headlines that they faced when they came back, and they had the week off, which can be a bad sign. Means you think about that big loss, a team that you should beat for a long time, and they were all very anxious to get back and play a football game. They certainly have turned it around today.
Well, what's strange, Charlie, is you look at the beginning of the season, you said, okay, our first 4 opponents are the Raiders, the Bengals, the Chiefs, and the Patriots. Gee, if we come out of that 3-1, we'll be in pretty good shape, and that's exactly what happened. But the way they lost the game to the Patriots, look, fans, man, they can really be impatient.
Steve Sewell is the ball carrier. John Elway has completed 1 of his last 8 passes, and that was the interception with that completion in the fumble, which we thought was a fumble that ended up a touchdown for the opposition. They are now in their hurry-up offense, and this pass is complete. They'll pick up the first down. Now he takes the timeout as he goes to Steve Sewell for the completion. So they stop the clock with 1:27. I've got a question. With Elway calling his own plays, does that give him a bit of an edge going into the hurry-up offense because he is used to calling his own plays?
I think it does, because what happens in the normal course of the game is that most quarterbacks, of course, have the plays called for them, and they know that in the 2-minute offense they don't get that luxury. They can't look to the sidelines. So somebody who's been doing it throughout the game is certainly going to be better prepared than somebody that hasn't.
What do you think about a quarterback calling his own plays? As a player, would you like that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let me tell you, when I used to sit there with Plunkett in the huddle, first of all, I could talk him into something, which I used to like.
That's what you like. Now the real reason comes out.
And the other thing, too, is that there's an ebb and flow to it. And you know if things are successful, you're the reason why. And if things go badly, you know that you're also the reason why. A lot of times what happens when you have coaches calling the plays is if a play goes bad, it's easy to sit there and moan and complain and get angry at some coach for calling a stupid play. When it's your guy and you're out there on the field, in a lot of cases you have input, you got nobody to blame but yourself.
I remember Lynn Dawson telling me that sometimes if an offensive lineman got a little out of sync or really wasn't playing up to snuff, he would call a play right over him, or he would look at it in the huddle and say, you called the play. And he had to call it coming over. So you could get people back in the ballgame that way. Here's the inside handoff to Sewell, and he'll go to the 42-yard line. He'll pick up about 6 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 4.
I can tell you, Charlie, that if he'd have been in the Raider huddle, he'd have had 10 suggestions.
Michael Young told us about Elway in the huddle a couple of weeks ago when he got dinged. He came back in. He was a little woozy. He looked around and said, anybody got any suggestions? This pass is complete to the 50-yard line to Michael Young.
Well, the thing is, Charlie, is they're not preparing quarterbacks to do that anymore. From the time they're in high school, you know, you have coaches calling the play. And so the whole concept of field general nowadays is non-existent. I like the fact now that you have Jim Kelly and John Elway calling a lot of their own plays. I've said this before. I want them to enforce that tennis rule, which means you can't coach on the field. And then the players play the game. I'm all for quarterbacks calling their own plays. I mean, I can't imagine somebody sending in a play to Johnny Unitas or Fran Tarkenton. I'm sorry, I just can't see it.
It's in the back.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. The wave starts around the Astrodome. They're celebrating early in Houston on 1 minute away from halftime, and the Oilers are up 35-0. Young goes wide to the far side, and Derek Russell comes wide to the near side. And Elway is sacked at the 45-yard line. Doug Smith got him. And now they'll go without the huddle. No, they've stopped the clock. Are they going to take another timeout?
No, the clock stops for the sack. I was about to say that Doug Smith is not exactly one of the all-time great pass rushers.
Defense.
And maybe that's the reason. They had 12 people on the field.
Yes.
One guy was not able to block Doug Smith. Jim Eddy told us yesterday that he's been playing as well as he has at any time in his career. And he has overcome a lot of adversity. Gunshot wound, a child in a car wreck. Doug Smith has hung in there through an awful lot. Very engaging character. Kind of a Dan Haggerty type. Husky man, 6'5", 312 pounds, with a big bushy beard. Nice man.
1st and 5. Elway's pass is complete to Derek Russell. Russell, the rookie out of Arkansas, is having a pretty good ball game. He'll pick up the 1st down. Denver with 1 timeout remaining. The Oilers have 2 in the 1st down. And the pass is complete to Sewell, and now Elway will take the timeout. That stops the clock with 27 seconds remaining. There's a flag on the play, and they're going to bring it back. The call is going to go on Doug Weidel.
Number 67, hands to the face, 10 yards, still 1st down.
Denver really wants to score here, and you know, obviously they're not going to score and go for 33 on the extra point, but you know, you want to have some degree of momentum going into halftime so you can have at least something to build on. So Dan Reeves can say to his Chargers, okay, look, you know, we're blown out of this game, but let's work on some things. Let's show some poise here, so when the situation presents itself that we really do need this, that we can use it.
And the pass is incomplete. Ricky Natile, the intended receiver.
Went over in a Hail Mary setup with 3 receivers on the side, giving Houston the illusion that they're all going to go for the jump ball in the end zone. Instead, they had Natile on the out, and he wasn't able to find it.
And it will be 2nd down and 20. John not pleased with.
Yeah, but John
called the play.
Making
the call. And it is knocked down incomplete. Richard Johnson with the defensive play. Michael Young, the intended receiver. The Houston secondary has looked very good against a tough gun.
Well, but John Elway's not exactly having his best day either.
Well, that's true. But maybe that's one of the reasons. He's not having his best day on 3rd downs. He's 1 of 7.
Give a lot of credit to this man right here. He talked about having to contain Elway, keep him in the pocket, not let him run out and make the big plays he's famous for, and certainly that hasn't happened.
There's Jim Eddy, the defensive coordinator. And this pass is going to be complete to Mark Jackson. And now Elway will take the timeout with 10 seconds left. And we got flags flying downfield. A bit of a skirmish at the 35-yard line.
Michael Young and Richard Johnson getting into it, fingers in the face. If this is against the Houston Oilers, it's very foolish because on 4th down, they're clearly out of field goal range. This is where the word poise comes into play.
Are you going to work pride in that with it also?
No. I'm leaving that. No, I'm leaving that alone. I'm talking about, you know, the players on the field sometimes feel like their manhood is challenged, you know, and sometimes you just have to say, look, all right, that got a cheap shot. Discretion's a better part of valor. Let's move on. But too often, particularly on the defensive side, you retaliate, and in this case, Richard Johnson's the one that got caught.
We have a personal foul, face mask, 83 on Denver. Personal foul, face mask, 23 on Houston. Both fouls are after the play is over. The play counts. It's 4th down.
Michael Young and Richard Johnson.
Michael Young?
That's right.
I mean, he looked like he looked like a stand-in actor for Leave It to Beaver.
Well, after all, he played for the Pioneers.
That's right.
I mean, let's face it.
We're talking about his high school team.
Mount Whitney.
The people are at home wondering what the inside joke is, but the Mount Whitney team that he had there in Visalia, California, their nickname were the Pioneers, and on that team was Luke.
That still is the Pioneers.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, thank you. All right. On that high school team, along with himself, they had Don Mosbar, center for the Los Angeles Raiders, and Lupe Sanchez, a defensive back for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who a number of years ago actually led the league in kickoff returns.
A flag is down. Elway's pass is complete. This is Sewell. Another flag is down. We've got 2 flags dropped. He is out of bounds around the 18-yard line. 1 second left on the clock. And we may have picked up a face mask along the way.
You know, depending upon what the flag is, that was heads up by Steve Sewell. He had another 5 yards to go, but he was cognizant of the clock, and he got himself out of bounds with 1 second left, which, unless the penalty is against Denver, would enable them to kick the field goal. Another unsung player for the Broncos who's done a lot of things for them over the years. Halfback passes, come in on 3rd down, make catches, blocks for Elway in those key situations. Good special teams player.
We have a multiple foul on the defense. Number 72, offsides. That penalty is declined. We have a 5-yard face mask. Will be tacked on to the end of the run. 1st down.
Willis Pegues was offsides. I believe it was Bubba McDowell who got caught with a face mask. And that was on Sewell. And, you know, he got kind of a finger in the right eye. You could see him blink in that right eye as he was coming to the sideline. So now with 1 second left to go in the first half, do you go for the end zone or do you go for the field goal? And David Treadwell is there. And the Broncos will try and pick up 3.
Well, you want to come away with something. And so at least you go into the halftime and say, you know what, our 2-minute offense, it was successful. We got down there.
31-yard field goal attempt. And it is blocked. And it was Bubba McDowell who got it. Bubba has been everywhere.
Special teams for the Houston Oilers have been very strong throughout the last couple of years, but never more so than today. 2 block kicks and a recovered fumble for a touchdown. Bubba McDowell is going to come from the right of your screen off the flank. He's going to come inside the up back right here. He jumps untouched, is able to lay out right there and get it right off his right wrist. Nice athletic play by number 25, Bubba McDowell.
The Houston Oilers in command by a score of 35-0. Those of you in the Mountain Time Zone and in the state of Texas will be with us in the second half. Those of you watching from other parts of the country will be joining the game between Miami and New England. So wherever you go, be with us or be with them. We'll be back in a moment.
Hi, I'm Mike Horan of the Denver Broncos, and I want you to meet my family. My wife, Kim.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL Live Halftime Report, brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Nobody knows like Domino's how you like pizza at home.
Okay, here we are. Parcells, Simpson, Costas, welcome to those of you watching the games from Foxborough or the Astrodome. If you're a Bronco fan, the game in the Astrodome isn't really a game. It's just a total disaster. 35-0. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the Houston perspective, lowlights from the Denver perspective. Dan Reeves' team has absolutely stunk the Astrodome out from the very start. Mike Horan to punt, blocked by Bo Orlando off the low snap. Bubba McDowell recovers. Touchdown, 7-0 Houston. Elway had been intercepted only one time all year in 5 games as the Broncos came in 4-1. This one picked off by Chris Dishman. Nearly returns it for a touchdown. Elway with the shoestring tackle to stop him, but Alan Pinkett scored from the one. It was 14-0. Then after an Elway fumble led to another touchdown, and it was 21-0. The Broncos try and get back into it, but on the shovel pass, Dishman recovers the fumble by Steve Sewell, goes in from 19 yards out, so he very nearly had 2 touchdowns. He was barely stopped on the interception earlier. Then they had an 80-yard drive in 7 plays, capped by a Moon touchdown pass of 3 yards to Jeffries. Treadwell's field goal at the end of the half is blocked. Nothing could possibly go wrong that hasn't gone wrong already for the Broncos, Juice.
Well, Houston is, despite the poor effort they had last week against New England, is just bearing out what many of us thought coming into the season, that they're, along with the Buffalo Bills, are one of the top 2 teams in the AFC. And the Broncos, as we speculated in the pregame show, despite their 4-1 record, may not be as good as that record indicates.
Now, they had a relatively soft early season schedule. The 4 victories were against teams with a combined record of 4-15, and Houston up 35-0 at the half. Big game in the NFC finds Washington going to Soldier Field to take on the Bears. The Redskins have shut out 3 of their first 5 opponents. All 3 of the shutout victories came at RFK. On the road, they've got the Bears blanked early in the 3rd by a score of 10-0. Chip Lohmiller from 47, Mark Rippon 26 to Art Monk. They have more or less controlled the line of scrimmage. The Redskins in front, 10-0. Minnesota takes a 14-3 lead to the 3rd quarter at the Silverdome. Barry Sanders 9 carries for 31 yards in the first half for the Lions. Rich Gannon in at quarterback, threw a 2-yard touchdown pass to Steve Jordan. Darren Nelson an 11-yard touchdown run. Vikings played the entire first half without Herschel Walker, who apparently will not play at all today. He's got an injured left shoulder. The Vikings surprising some people, Bill, with a 14-3 lead.
Well, the Vikings facing the prospect of being down to both division leaders. They've already lost to Chicago. You know, they had to be ready to play this game. And Gannon getting his first start, doing a good job. Darren Nelson doing a good job. Defense playing well. They need this one bad, the Vikings. Rest of the season, the schedule gets easier for them.
I said surprising some people because as you pursue your 4th consecutive bullseye in the upset selections, you picked them.
I could back off now and let you guys catch up if you want. We'll make it close at the end.
I may need more help than you can provide since my choice today was the Broncos over the Oilers. Enough said about that. The Jets have a 14-7 lead in the 3rd quarter. The Browns have just scored on a Kevin Mack 1-yard run at home, so they're getting back into the game. These are highlights from the first half. Bruce Coslet's team has come back strongly from those 2 heartbreaking defeats, one against Buffalo, one against Chicago. They beat Miami last week. Now this week, Blair Thomas, everybody sucked in on the option play. Rob Moore for the touchdown, and it's 7-0. There's Frank Minifield, the veteran defensive back for the Browns, out with an injured shoulder, unlikely to return today. A 72-yard jet drive later capped by this Brad Baxter run off left tackle for the TD. Gave them a 14-0 lead at the half. The Browns have cut it in half with a touchdown early in the 3rd quarter. Jets trying to even their record at 3-3 if they can hold on and win today. What a ball game in Tampa Bay. This is just a mountain of thrills and spills. 0-0 early in the 3rd. First half, Brad Gable, 4 of 10 for 33 yards passing for the Eagles. He's their free agent signee out of Baylor, the 4th quarterback they've used this year. Testaverde, 5 of 15 for the Bucs. They're playing in the rain, and nobody's gone to the end zone yet.
Well, that's 6 quarters, no touchdowns for the Eagles. You know, their defense and special teams got to win this game because, quite obviously, their offense isn't ready to compete.
All right, on we go to Foxborough, the game some of you folks are watching. New England had a 7-0 lead at one point. Miami with 17 unanswered points, including 2 touchdowns by Dan Marino, 1 of 24 yards to Mark Clayton, then a 5-yarder to Jim Jensen. This is the bullet to Clayton. It comes with 1:22 to play until halftime, and then a minute later they scored again on the pass to Jensen for a 17-7 halftime lead. Dallas is in front at County Stadium in Milwaukee. Halftime in this one, 14-3. Aikman with a 13-yard touchdown pass to Novacek. Ray Horton also had a 65-yard interception return for a TD. You may recall that last week against the Giants, he wrested the ball away from a Giant receiver, Jared Bunch, and went in for a touchdown on that play. So he's been very effective in that Dallas secondary, and they lead 14-3 at the half. And Seattle and Cincinnati are tied at 7. They've gone to the early portion of the third quarter. The Seahawks 2-3, and the Bengals, of course, 0-4. Geez.
Well, Chuck Knox, no matter what talent he has, and I don't think he's, have a lot of talent with the Seahawks team, always gets a solid effort from his team, and all he needs is for his quarterback not to hurt him. And Kemp has thrown 1 interception in the first half. Let's hope he doesn't do that in the second half. They have a chance of winning.
Certainly get the feeling, though, he's not overly confident about any of his quarterbacks. Even when David Craig was piling up big numbers, Knox was kind of wishy-washy about him. Now he starts Kemp, pulls him out, plays McGuire for a half, and the vote of confidence he gives Kemp this week is, I'll use him against Cincinnati because he gives us the best chance to win this game. So Kemp's not making any long-range plans, that's for sure. We're back. Our short-range plan calls for a talk with Howie Long of the Raiders, and it comes up after these messages from your local stations.
The County Fire Department, Erie, Indiana at 7, 6 Central.
Of this Raider team stacked up against others he's played on.
Potentially, I think it has the ability to match or surpass previous teams, but obviously you have to realize that potential, and one of the big keys is winning on the road. We haven't done that this year. We've been kind of up and down, but I think we're on a roll right now.
Last week, the defense played especially well in beating San Francisco 12-6. But like you say, the offense hasn't kicked in at all. I didn't score a touchdown last week.
I didn't say that. You did.
Oh, I did. I must have been hallucinating.
I'm not concerned about the offense, really. It'll come around. My biggest worry today is, you want to know what my biggest worry is today?
Yeah.
My biggest worry is today, we've got this old guy at gate 6. Every week, I'm sure he's just trying to do his job, but he doesn't want to let me in the stadium. He asks for my credentials every week. He's been doing this for 9 years. Gate 6 guy, once I get past him, everything's fine. No problem.
Let me give you something else that maybe you're not worried about, but concerned about. Any defensive lineman, any defensive player in the AFC West, it's kind of a peculiarity of your division. Most teams have a tandem of big backs. We're going to put a graphic up here. We're taking a look at the Chargers with Rod Bernstein and Marion Butts, and the Chiefs with Okoye and Word, and Seattle with John L. Williams and Derek Fenner. That kind of changes the equation a little bit when you've got to play 2 times against teams like that.
Yeah, those guys kind of look like 2 pounds of bologna stuffed in a 1-pound bag. They're pressing the envelope. They've got some big boys. They really do. We've got a guy by the name of Nick Bell who we're trying to get in the lineup now. He's about 255, 260 pounds. It kind of wears you down. I think if you're looking for success, I think in recent years you got to look to the Giants, and I think the Giants have been successful doing what they do, and that's pounding people. That Bill Parcells philosophy is being emulated around the league, and obviously it's being emulated in our division.
So Howie Long and the 3-2 Raiders will try to keep the Chargers winless a little bit later at the LA Coliseum, the second half of the doubleheader here on NBC. And our NFL Live halftime activities will continue.
Welcome back to the Astrodome. Those of you that have stayed with us, this is Charlie Jones and Todd Christensen. The Oilers at halftime leading Denver by a score of 35-0. Now let's take a look at the Coors Light halftime stats. And I think the one that jumps out at you, time of possession, Denver had the ball longer than Houston did.
Well, the one that jumps out at me is the turnovers. You have the block punt for a touchdown, a fumble that's run back for a touchdown, and then another interception. The Dishman runs back to the 1-yard line.
But when Denver had possession, look what they did with the football. The block punt, punt. The block punt led to a touchdown. The interception, one of the fumbles was picked up for a touchdown. And the others, the interception, the other fumble recovery, set up. Yeah, touchdowns for Houston.
And I was going to say, in the 2-minute offense, adding insult to injury, not only do they not score, they get their kick blocked.
And Houston will have the ball to open the second half. Coleman follows it back into the end zone. He goes through the end zone and will mark the touchback. And the ball will come out to the 20-yard line. If you're Dan Reeves, the head coach of the Denver Broncos, what did you tell your team during a halftime?
What time's the plane?
Well, that would get their attention.
No, in all seriousness, I think what you do here is that you say there are some things that we need to work on. We need to do some things right. It's 35-0. You can't kid a kidder. These are pros. You can't go out and say, hey, let's go get 38 points and win this thing. What you have to do is say, let's be a little more consistent. Let's do the things that got us here. Let's show that we're in good habits, because a blowout like this can have a ripple effect that can affect them over the next couple of weeks. Dan Reeves is a veteran coach, and he realized this is only one game.
And Warren Moon is the quarterback. Drew Hill comes in motion. Pickett is back in as the starting running back, and Allen gets the call. And he picks up 6 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 4. Mike Kroll, the rookie from Nebraska, makes the tackle.
Charlie, one of the arguments over Denver's 4-1 record here is whether or not they really are for real. Take a look at the 4 wins that they've had versus teams that have combined for a 4-15 record. And remaining on their schedule, including teams within the division, they only play 2 more playoff teams. That's one of the advantages of being last place. While the rest of their division are playing the tough NFC West, they're playing teams like Phoenix, New England, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland.
2nd down and 4. Moon to throw. And the pass is complete, then bounced away. They're going to rule it an incomplete pass. Jeffries couldn't pull it in. Randy Robbins was there for Denver. It'll be 3rd down and 4.
Warren Moon's right on the mark to Haywood Jeffries, but this is a nice hit to separate him from the ball. These are the kind of catches the receivers have to make. Big hit there by Charles Dimley. It bounces right up to Tyrone Braxton, but good call by the official, incomplete.
3rd down and 4.
Reeves' complaint right here is, wait a minute. You gave it to them in the first half.
We should get it on the second half.
How about a makeup call, yeah.
At least review it. And it's 3rd down and 4. Moon has pressure, and the pass along the far side is complete. He goes to Jeffries. And Haywood pulls it in. A 1st down for Houston.
The look on Dan Reeves' face there reminds me a little bit of the look that Marty Schottenheimer had last year. I mean, what do you do against a guy that can throw these kind of passes? They backpedal because they have 3rd and 9. Looks like he's going to go up, fools him completely. He looks like, oh my goodness, Charles Dimry. He was sprinting for an up, and he had a comeback. Oh no.
And a gain of 16 to the Houston 42-yard line. 1st down Oilers. Houston on top by a score of 35-0 with 13:49 left to go in the 3rd.
Dan Reeves is really working the officials, and I don't know why. I mean, it's a little late for that.
Moon to throw again. It is incomplete. Curtis Duncan. It caught him on the shoulder pads and bounced away.
One of the deceptive statistics there at the end of this game, and really throughout the season, for Warren Moon, as you look and you'll see incompletions, but there are a lot of drop passes. Sometimes people just aren't in sync, and in this case, Duncan, who he hasn't thrown to all game, all of a sudden gets one between the 8 and the 0 and can't come up with it.
When we talked to Warren Moon yesterday, we asked him if he would like to call his plays, such as Elway is doing. He said, the realities of it, in the offense that we run, I make so many decisions and so many reads at the line of scrimmage that in reality, I end up calling about 60% of the plays anyway. He said, I really prefer it this way.
I don't think there's any doubt he certainly has the capability to do it. But Kevin Gilbride has done an outstanding job last year anyway.
And it is incomplete as he throws behind Curtis Duncan.
We saw that earlier in the first half. That's an intentional throw, but Curtis wasn't quite on the same sync with Warren as Ernest Givens was earlier. Last year at this time, Charlie, the Fab four of the top 5 receivers in the AFC were members of the Houston Oilers. Now this year, none in the top 10. Now that's a little bit deceiving because of the balance that they've had in the running game. Twice as many rushing yards as they had last year. That has actually helped them. And so you mentioned Warren Moon earlier, the pressure that's on him. He says, wait a minute, I can't have 300-yard games every week. We want to win. That's what the issue is, not me racking up big yards. And certainly that's what they've been doing.
The Fab 4, of course, Jeffries, Hill, Givens, and Duncan, the 4 starting wide receivers in the run and shoot. Here's the screen, left side. It is complete to Pinkett. And he is inside the 40 to the 39-yard line of the Denver Broncos. Atwater with the tackle.
Terrific call by Kevin Gilbride. Having everybody come upfield, backpedal into the zones. You'll see that they backpedal into the zone, and they're coming there with 6 people. He actually should have gotten more out of this. Atwater does a nice job there avoiding Doug Dawson and tripping him up, or else he could have gone the distance.
And remember, that was 3rd down and 10. The Oilers have now converted 6 of 7 third down opportunities. They picked up 19 yards on that play. Moon to throw again, steps away. He goes deep, and it is incomplete. Jeffries, the intended receiver. Dimry had picked him up. It'll be 2nd down back at the Denver 39-yard line.
People might be wondering at home, why don't they run the ball and take some time off the clock? Well,
good question.
The run and shoot offense is just that. You know, that's a throwing offense. And so.
Yeah, more shoot than run today, right?
Well, boy, it's been very effective.
It certainly has. Is that one of the, is that part of the downside of the run and shoot offense when you have to control the clock?
Well, certainly people thought so last year, but if you recall, Charlie, the Houston Oilers in 1990 were 4th in the league in time of possession. So that old chestnut about the fact that they can't take time off the clock isn't apropos where they're concerned.
2nd and 10, Moon to throw. Comes back deep over the middle. The pass is complete. And that was Gibbons. There was a flag drop back at the 47-yard line. Maybe a holding call on David Williams.
You got to love Warren Moon's arm. Backpedaling a little bit to his left, he's able to straighten up and gun it downfield to Ernest Gibbons. You know, before the game, we were talking to both coaches, and they said that, you know, John Elway has the better arm, but Warren Moon is more accurate. I don't know how much better arm you can have right there. When he drilled that thing about 25 yards on a line.
10 yards, still 2nd down.
And that holding call was on David Williams, number 73. One thing that Warren said to us when we talked to him was, and you alluded to it a moment ago, and that is the pressure that he is under. And in that type of offense, he cannot afford to have an off day. If he has an off day such as he did against New England, they are going to get beat. And he said, intimate that pressure. So sometimes I feel like I'm carrying the weight of the whole city of Houston on my shoulders. So he is under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I'm certain that's one of the reasons that he called his mother to talk.
Second down. Gibbons, and it is incomplete as he was nailed by Atwater just as the ball got there. Now for an update, let's go to New York and Bob Costas.
All right, Charlie, the Browns get even at home early in the 4th quarter. It'll be Leroy Horde. Actually, this comes at the end of the 3rd. Leroy Horde wide open for the pass from Bernie Kosar. They have moved to the 4th quarter, and hordes of fans in Cleveland excited by the comeback for the Browns, even at 14.
And next week, Todd and I will be in our nation's capital for the ball game against the Cleveland Browns and the Washington Redskins. And with the Browns pulling together a comeback today, that could well set the scene for next week in the nation's capital.
A lot of great history in those two organizations.
Yes. Looking forward to that one. 3rd down. Here's the screen from Warren Moon to Pinkett. It worked before, it works again. And he picks up about 12 yards before Atwater got him.
Now here comes the Maytag repairman, Charlie. Right after this replay, we'll get a chance to see him. Yeah. Alan Pinkett. Now look in the middle of the field. Look how wide open it is. Why does he cut back here? Bad decision on the part of Alan Pinkett. If he cuts the middle of the field, he can get the 1st down. The Maytag repairman I'm referring to is Greg Montgomery. You know that old commercial. He got that nickname because of the fact that last year he averaged 45 yards a punt and would have led the league, but he only had 34 punts, less than the 40 required. Now you can see on that graphic right there, he only has 10, which is the fewest in the National Football League again.
Well, at least the good news from his standpoint, this is number 11. Kevin Clark is the return man. He's at the 10-yard line. He wants a little more room. Punters like to do this. The coaches will call it, but punters like to do this because they can pad their average. They get another 5 yards on their average. They're always in favor of this call.
That's right. He knows that he has to angle it out inside the 20, and even if he doesn't on his gross average, if he hammers it in the end zone, it looks better to have 44 than 39.
Prior to the snap, still 4th down.
Greg Montgomery was a holdout during training camp, and as we mentioned earlier, that enabled Frank Mayotte to get the job of holder. 45-yard average. Certainly he is one of the better punters in the National Football League. He just doesn't get much of a chance to prove it.
Has pressure, but he gets it away. And this will go into the end zone. He gets another 5 yards.
He wasn't trying for the out of bounds at all.
11:02 left to go in the third. Oilers lead it 35-0.
We're America's wheels.
Well, you can tell we're in the state of Texas. We're in the Astrodome. Houston in front of Denver by a score of 35-0. And off of that shot, of course, the Houston Oilers leading the Denver Broncos. Gas to Green last week, a career high 158 yards.
Different story today.
Here he is on the draw. He'll pick up 4 yards. Ray Childress made the stop. Now, during the timeout, we focused our camera on the sideline. Kenny Walker, number 96 for the Denver Broncos. As most of you may know, the defensive end, a rookie from Nebraska, is deaf. He had spinal meningitis when he was 2 years old. And that is his interpreter for Kenny Walker. The interpreter's name is Guy Smith. So you can see he is reading lips, but whenever... And Kenny's the one bending or just kind of leaning over there on the right side. There's a look at Guy Smith. And so that when he looks away that he is signing and giving the information. And he stays with him. And when they're in the classroom, they do that because sometimes the coaches will turn their back and be making marks and X's and O's on the back. But we had a chance to visit with Kenny yesterday. First time I had a chance. He is impressive young man, isn't he?
Yes, he is. And one of the things that both Wade Phillips and Dan Reeves say, this isn't a novelty. This isn't something they brought in as some sort of sideshow or to be nice to this guy. They say that he is a real player, a great pass rusher. If we get into it a little bit later on after this play, great story about what they did at his last game there in Nebraska.
Yeah. Also, he came out of Texas high school football, Crane High School, south of Odessa. That's in West Texas. Tipped, it is up for grabs, and it is incomplete. And we have 2 more flags dropped.
Well, the story about Kenny Walker in his last game there at Nebraska, they had 75,000 people there in the stands against Colorado, and instead of clapping, what they did is that they raised their hands and shook them so he could see.
That's the sign for applause.
And that's the sign for applause. And so he walks into the stadium, and there's 75,000 people waving their hands. I bet that was a thrill for him.
Oh, you know it was. And they said he knew that something was different. He said because when there's applause, he can feel the vibrations. And he didn't feel the vibrations. He had to look around. And it was
defense, 5 yards, still third down.
The man he's talking to right there, Charlie, Ernie Stotner, Hall of Famer, Pittsburgh Steeler. Boy, he couldn't get a better teacher for somebody to have defensive line. It's interesting right there, Guy Smith hurrying along as Ernie's talking.
Yeah, talk faster, Ernie. I've got you. Third down and a couple, Elway. And he's in all kinds of problems. Reverses it. And is sacked back at the 8-yard line, and flags are down.
Not only is he sacked, but Keith Karts came back and clipped Sean Jones. Sean Jones was about to get him. Well, he tackled him. They're going to call it holding. You know, the smile on Elway's face says it all. I mean, what can you do?
When it all goes bad, it all goes bad.
When it rains, it pours. There you can see Keith Karts got a little bit of a beef with Sean Jones. They certainly don't want to get their legs thrown out, and that's exactly what he did from behind.
Number 72 in the offense. The penalty is declined. Takes the result of the play. 4th down.
He was just protecting his quarterback.
Yeah, but in the meantime, he could have caused Sean Jones some serious injury.
Haran to kick. Pat Coleman is the return man, and the Oilers have great field position. Here's Presser. He barely gets it off. His first kick of the game, in case you weren't with us, was blocked for a touchdown for Houston. Coleman loses sight. The Oilers come up with it. Excuse me, the Broncos come up with it, and that's the first big break for Denver in a long time. Alton Montgomery has it.
Twice that's happened in the first half against the New England Patriots. This is what happened there. Coleman just takes his eyes off it, and Montgomery does a nice job of picking up the ball. He gets a little bit intimidated. Give Montgomery credit. Coleman heard footsteps, and instead of catching it straight on, he's kind of side saddled there, and so Montgomery's able to get the turnover for the Broncos.
So Denver with the ball at the 50-yard line. Oilers lead at 35-0. 9:56 left to go in the third. Elway throws. The pass is complete. Let's see where they mark it. He caught it at about the 39-yard line. The tackle ended up about the 45. Mark Jackson had it. And now we have pushing and shoving in earnest.
What's happening, Charlie, is at the end of the play, everybody's trying to get that shot in. Clarence Kay was looking for a defensive back, and he just misses Bo Orlando. This is a nice catch you're going to see by Jackson, who had a career year last year with 52 grabs. Comes up. This is really pretty good coverage. Gets his body in there now. If you can see at the end of the play, watch 88. Clarence Kay looking for somebody not looking, trying to get a shot. They had a little bit of a disagreement over that. Orlando pushes Jackson. Of course, the whole thing starts. Everybody comes in and attempts to play Macho Man.
They'll mark it just shy of the 40-yard line. So it's second down, about half a yard to go for the first down. And here's Green. He's got the first down. Now let's check in with the Hertz 10-minute ticker. Washington go by 3. Minnesota in front of Detroit. Jets leading Cleveland by 3. Philadelphia in front of Tampa Bay. Miami over New England by 10. Dallas by 4 over Green Bay, and Seattle leads Cincinnati 13-7. And here on the Astrodome, it is Houston 35 and Denver nothing. Denver with the ball at the 39-yard line of the Oilers with 8:29 and counting time remaining in the third quarter. Is Gaston Green from the pitch. There's nothing there. Oh, he is nailed by Johnny Meade.
As you mentioned about a quarter or so ago, certainly Houston came armed for bear, and you got to give a lot of credit to this man right here. The defensive game plan that Jim Eddy has put up for the Houston Oilers has not only stifled John Elway, but it's stifled Gaston Green as well. That man deserves a lot of the credit.
Looks like he's testifying, doesn't he?
He's great for television.
Oh, yeah.
He's so animated.
Yeah. But like you say, he was born to coach.
When we talked to him yesterday, I mean, there was not a single thing he didn't tell us. Unbelievable.
Here is the inside handoff. And Sewell doesn't go anywhere as Sean Jones makes the stop. So John Elway going now. We look again at what the defense is doing.
The double salute.
Yeah. But you know, John Elway has gone through, I think, every play that he has on his wrist, and none of them are working.
You know, if Jim Eddy, if it never worked out for him in coaching, he could always work for an airlines. Signaling the plane to him.
He'd be great in the Navy aboard a carrier.
That's right.
Elway throws on third down, and it's a first down as he connects with Derek Russell.
I think that's about Derek Russell's third catch, and you're right. He's really proving himself out here, despite the fact that it isn't a blowout situation. He runs the slant here on Jackson, the rookie. Makes a nice catch, cuts up field, just barely gets dragged down.
He's cut down by Steve Jackson, the rookie out of Purdue. And the ball is spotted just outside the 26.
And you know what's interesting? Look at his reaction. Don't tell me these people don't keep that intensity. He wants a shutout. That's important for his defense. He wants to keep them out of the end zone. You can see by his look. He hasn't stopped breaking.
Elway goes to the end zone, and it is incomplete. Mark Jackson, the intended receiver. It'll be second down and 10 back of the 26-yard line.
Chris Dishman does a nice job covering, but he probably should have looked back. Arguably, the official could have said that he wasn't looking back for the ball. Right at the end there, that's a nice job getting away with it. You see the right hand of Chris Dishman pushing Mark Jackson away. A lot of officials might call that. In this case, they let it go. And if you don't get caught, it's a good play, I guess.
I liked his comment on Gaston Green when he talked. He says he looks fast on tape. So you imagine how fast he's going to be in person, but they pretty well shut him down. Second and 10. Here's Sewell on the inside handoff. And he's got one tough yard before Latham ducked him.
Big hit by Lamar Latham. The rest of the defense. I'm not for that, though. The crowd's already into the game. Do me a favor. Play a few years in the league first, then fire the crowd up. It's one tackle when you're ahead 35-0. Relax.
Third down and 9. The ball at the 25-yard line. Third third down conversions. As you can see, Denver has had their problems with that category. But Denver's defense has been so good. It's been 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10 all afternoon. Swing right side. Pass is complete. It will be shy of the first down. Sewell has it. Bubba McDowell brings him down at the 20-yard line. Gain of 5. It'll be 4th down and 4.
It's a nice open field tackle by Bubba McDowell, who, as you mentioned earlier, has been all over the field, making tackles, blocking kicks, recovering fumbles. Bubba McDowell is one of those players who, you know, he's really, by today's standards, an undersized, strong safety. He's about 6'1", 6'2", and about 190 pounds. And in this day and age of the Atwaters and the Fulchers and the Joey Browners, who are 215, 220, 230, you know, he's got to do a real yeoman job in taking on these big people in the secondary.
4th down and 4. There's a blitz up the middle. The pass is knocked down. Flag is down at the 29-yard line.
They're going to call roughing the passer.
Was it on Darrell Lewis?
He came up the middle. He was the free safety blitz, and he came right underneath John Elway's chin. The official threw it immediately.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. 57. Loaded ahead. First down.
They called it on 57. That's Lamar Latham. Let's take another look.
Well, you know, earlier, that's kind of a young person's mistake. Earlier, he's trying to fire up the crowd, get everybody into it. It's long gone. He never hit him in the head. He hit him in the shoulder pad. It was the viciousness with which he did it. See, the arm comes out, and it looks like it's that much more vicious. That was a bad call. But still, in the case of Lamar Latham, he saw the ball was gone. Should have never gone after him.
And it was Lewis who was coming from the backside. The ball spotted just outside the 10. First down. It will swing right side to Gaston Green is incomplete. And it'll be 2nd down. There's another flag.
I believe this is holding again on Wydell. Oh, someone went to the face.
It'll be against the Oilers.
Like Jim Eddy, the crowd is now getting into the fact that they very much want this shutout. They're really applauding their defenders here.
Hands to the head. 96 defense. 5 yards. First down.
And that's on Sean Jones. Here's the score, 35-0. The Oilers out in front. And it's first down goal to go. Just inside the 6-yard line. And Green will get to the 3, maybe another half yard. Bubba McDowell led the defense along with Jeff Alm. 2nd down and goal to go. Now, one of the things that Dan Reeves told us yesterday in short yardage situation is that a lot of times he would call the plays because Elway could not tell exactly how much yardage that he had to go, and that could well apply here as he could signal it in from the sideline.
He's a natty dresser.
He is.
Yeah.
Nice man.
Guy.
Enjoyed the Ryder Cup coverage on NBC. Said he couldn't tear himself away from it.
Oh, brother.
Gaston Green, brought down by Sean Jones. What was the old brother for?
Because he told me that he couldn't. He was glued to that Phoenix New England game. That's what he told me.
You've got to be kidding. That, in case you wondered what Todd was doing while the rest of us were working last week.
You know, that is very impressive. 27 years as a coach and player. Since he was a rookie with the Cowboys in 1965, he has played or coached in 14 conference championships. That means half of his years as a coach or player, he is doing something in January. That is a very impressive statistic. He's a winner, safe to say, huh?
Bad news is he's never home at Christmas. 3rd and goal. Elway looks to Sewell on the right side. Now he scrambles. And now he throws it right to the back edge of the end zone to Steve Sewell. And Elway bought all the time.
Oh, boy, they just can't be satisfied, can they?
Jim Eddy, the defensive coordinator, you would think they had lost the game.
Look at his
and
face.
his first son at the same time.
Boy, oh boy. John Elway buying time, buying time, buying time. He has good protection. Now watch, Lamar Lathan's going to come into your screen. He's going to make the play. That actually could be argued that it was in the grasp, but the official let it go. Nice play by Elway. Look at Eddie. Jim Eddy can't believe it. He really, really wants that shutout. I guess coaches are never pleased. John Elway rolls his eyes. We finally got 6.
Doug Smith is the injured player.
Let's face it, dot matrix printers just don't fly anymore.
Doug Smith, the injured player. Now he is up but grimacing, and we'll go back and show you what happened, Todd.
Well, it's part of his rush right here, and what's going to happen is Jeff Davidson over here is going to come in and fall on the legs of Doug Smith. Unbeknownst to him, he gets leg whipped accidentally, falls back on the ankle a little bit, and that's painful. Once again, that's one of those things where AstroTurf is just too good a traction on that AstroTurf, and that left leg got stuck.
Like Velcro, it just grabs it and stays with it. All right, while he is being helped to the sideline, let's check the Hertz 10-minute ticker. Washington is still leading the Bears by 3. Minnesota up on Detroit. Jets 3 over Cleveland in the 4th quarter. Philadelphia shutting out Tampa Bay. Miami now by 10 over New England. Dallas leading Green Bay by 7. Seattle 13, Cincinnati 7. And here the score is Houston 35 and Denver 6 with the extra point to come as the Broncos finally got on the scoreboard with 3:35 left to go in the 3rd quarter. This is a long ball game. Usually when these two ball clubs meet, it is going to be a long ball game. David Treadwell will attempt the extra point. And it is good. So the score is Houston 35 and Denver 7. Will be back with the kickoff. David Treadwell will be kicking off for the Denver Broncos, and now they're set up for an onside kick. It took so much time that Denver was able to come up for it. But Denver came up and Houston came right with them. It's in the air. That's what they wanted to do. And it is recovered in the air by Denver.
But Denver was offsides. Both officials caught it.
Number 38, Reggie Rivers, came down with it, but the flags are going to nullify it.
It's a nice job by David Treadwell. The idea is to get that second hop to pop up in the air so you can get your people to go after it, but the anticipation of trying to time it up just right, and especially if you haven't practiced it, when you're 4-1, you haven't had too many onside kicks.
Of course, you know that when you recover an onside kick, you cannot advance it. I mean, if you successfully recover it.
Offsides on a kicking team, 5-yard penalty, and we will re-kick.
Interesting, there was such a mass of humanity, nobody could pick out who the number was. From this angle, I'm not going to be able to.
However, we could go back just a little. Now remember that he's kicking from the 35-yard line. Let's just kind of see.
Let me tell you how unfun this is. You can see there's about 3 guys right there. The most prominent right there was Ronnie Halliburton, the linebacker. Right there, he creams the guy with the ball. In that situation, you only have 1 or 2 people that are designed to get the ball. The rest of the people are just there to wipe everybody out. And there's somebody who was on in Houston's case right there, they have what's called the hands team who are returning. You put your guys up there. Yeah, you put your guys up there who have the best hands, known as the All-State team, in case you were wondering.
I wasn't.
Okay, good. And it's one of the least fun positions to play because you know that whatever happens, you're going to get creamed and you have to take it because your eyes have to be on the football.
Now will they try it again? Why not? They're down 35-7. Might pull it off.
Doesn't look like it.
And when he goes deep, it is Pat Coleman. Coleman at the 11-yard line. He can run with it, of course. And he picks up another about 5.5 yards. Reggie Rivers makes the tackle. A flag is down at the 29-yard line. Rivers, you may recall, is the one who recovered the onside kick, but nullified by the offside.
A little bit frustrated that he didn't get his moment in the sun to hold on to the ball, so he and Darrell Lewis have to get into it.
The report on Doug Smith, a knee strain and an ankle sprain, and they of course have taken him inside, and no, they haven't taken him inside. Usually they've taken him inside by now to have an x-ray.
Personal foul, 15-yard face mask, number 22, first down.
That's on Alton Montgomery. And so Warren Moon will go to work at the Houston 32-yard line. I'm a bit surprised for you that Warren Moon is still in with 3:22 to go in the third quarter with this game well in hand, 35-7.
I am too. I thought this would be a good time for Cody Carlson, if for no other reason than to put him in a situation where, even though it is mop-up, he could get a quarter and a half work.
And Warren is brought down at the 26-yard line. Mike Kroll got him.
Mike Kroll, the first-round pick of the Denver Broncos. You know, earlier in the first half, Lorenzo White had done an outstanding job on the linebackers coming from the outside. This young man, great story, is that his parents needed a ride from the airport. And so he says, okay, I'll come and get you. He comes and gets them and hands them the keys to a brand new Lexus.
Class move.
Well, I tell you what, I hope I have a son like that. If one of my 4 sons is listening, pay attention to what Mike Kroll did for his old dad.
He also is the one that, having dinner with the Denver Broncos, said, don't over, that was right at after the first day of the draft, don't overlook Kenny Walker. Even the fact that he is deaf, he is a player. And that helped him make it in mind of drafting Lorenzo White. And Steve Atwater is there. Mike Kroll was there again. This game is deteriorating just a bit.
Well, you know, what you were saying about Moon still being in there, if people recall from last year, the second to last game of the season, they're playing the Cincinnati Bengals, and it's a similar situation but the other direction. They're down 40-20. There's only 2 minutes left in the game. There's no way that Warren Moon's going to get him 3 touchdowns in 2 minutes. He comes into the game, as I recall, I think it was Joe Namath who pointed out that there's no way he should be in there, and then the very next play, what happens? He dislocates his thumb, and so they don't have him for the playoffs.
Third down and 16. An excellent move by Jeffries. He comes up about 3 yards shy of the first down. Jeff Mills got him, and Atwater was also there. So it'll be 4th down.
And Greg Montgomery will have the whole field to increase his average this time around. Let's see what he does.
Kevin Clark is the return man for the Broncos.
You know, we kid about this, but in all seriousness, it's kind of tough to keep your focus when, you know, you're punting only 2 times a game.
Not that good a kick. And it's going to be down inside the 20-yard line. The score, Houston 35, Denver 7. Back in a moment. Sean Jones is the player shaken up on the last play.
You wonder what he's doing. He's stretching out his calf muscle right there. He's not sure about his calf and his hamstring.
Does it just kind of grab on you?
Yeah, it does. He's not sure now. He thinks he can walk it off. Well, you know, this doesn't bode well for the defensive lineman of the Houston Oilers. Not only now with Doug Smith out and Sean Jones limping a little bit, a big trade that they had made earlier there, you get to see Doug Smith, was for that man right there, Lee Williams. And next to him is Ezra Johnson, another defensive tackle who's on injured reserve for the Houston Oilers. So one of the things that Jim Eddy had talked about was the depth that they had on the defensive line. And if it's serious where Sean Jones and Doug are concerned, that could be a real problem.
And it is the left arm of Lee Williams, and we can kind of go down it. He just has tape on it. You can see right there, you can see the scar. That's just kind of clear tape that is on it. He has a broken bone in there. They put what do they stick in there? Piece of pipe.
Yeah, a pin. No.
That's what it was, a pin. And Ezra on the left. Now, he is famous because...
Well, because he's the Methuselah of the National Football League.
No, that's not the reason he's famous. He's famous when he was at Green Bay. He was sitting on the bench.
Oh,
the preseason game. The game was going on, and...
And he ate a hot dog. And he said it was the most expensive hot dog he ever ate. It cost him $1,000
fine. He said it was a preseason game. 46 seconds and counting. Time remaining. This is the third quarter. Here at the Astrodome, it is Houston 35 and Denver 7. And Denver with the ball at the 25-yard line. Elway goes deep. The pass is a bit underthrown, and Mark Jackson comes back for it. And the ball will be at the 32-yard line of Houston.
Chris Dishman didn't look soon enough.
43 yards on the play. Let's take another look.
He has good coverage right there. He knows he's going on the up. He turns. He's right with him. He's right with him stride for stride. Now he should look right now. He looks too late. The ball's behind. Jackson's the one that can adjust and not Dishman.
But when you look, even then, when the ball's underthrown, the defender is at a disadvantage.
Well, that's true. But still, if he looks sooner, he can adjust to the ball and come back and knock it down.
And it's a first down at the 32-yard line. Elway gets pressure and throws this one away.
Nice coverage by Johnny Meads downfield on Gaston Green in the out and up route. Good pressure by the front four. Now Glenn Montgomery and Willie Pegues are going to get a lot more playing time with the people that we mentioned who are hurt. They're doing a good job right there putting some pressure on Elway.
The ball at the 32-yard line. It is second down and 10 with 4 seconds left to go in the third quarter.
Bring the young guns there into the secondary. Passing down.
While we have a moment, I want to thank Frank Priddy, our statistician, Kevin Eisenfelder, and Ernie Morris, our spotters. They're doing a great job. Usually we wait to the end of the game. They're so good today, we want to get them in early. Elway with all the time in the world, and he comes too high. The pass is incomplete. The intended receiver was Derek Russell. That is the end of the third quarter. 35-7 Houston. Back after these messages from your local station. Welcome back to the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. This is Charlie Jones along with Todd Christensen. A ball game that the Oilers have dominated. You can just scan across. 7 points in the first period, 28 in the second. They did not score any in the third, but a total of 35 for the Oilers. We're just starting the fourth, and Broncos had their only touchdown just a moment ago. And this pass is complete to Mark Jackson.
You know, Charlie, we could argue the same point on the other side of the ball with Elway as we did with Moon. What's Moon going to do in the fourth quarter? Is he all of a sudden going to come up with 30 points? Why risk him? Why not put in Gary Kubiak?
I think the explanation for that is from a Denver standpoint. They feel they still have an opportunity to win it. They can have a big fourth quarter, and they can pull this one out. Whereas Houston, on the other side, feel that they have it well in hand. Fourth down and 6. The ball at the 28-yard line. Little swing to Sewell. The defender is waiting for him. Excellent defensive play by Bubba McDowell.
Boy. He paid the price from his teammate Lamar Lathan. Lamar Lathan comes over and sticks it.
Oilers take over on downs, and Warren Moon will be in the ballgame.
Watch at the end of the play. Bubba McDowell makes a terrific tackle here. Open field tackle. A lot of room. Sewell not able to get away from him. Now watch Lamar Lathan come over and bang. Nice catch, and down he goes.
So Houston takes over at their own 32-yard line, first down. And everybody's there. Lorenzo White is the running back. The Fab Four, Jeffries, Hill, Gibbons, and Duncan. The 4 starting wide receivers are there. And here is White. A little fake inside, goes outside. 37-yard line. He's got 5. It'll be second down and 5. Greg Cragen, the nose tackle, is the man who made the tackle.
Don Maggs, the right tackle, did a nice job there. He ended up hitting 3 different people, enabling White to get those 5 yards.
13:53 and counting. Time remaining in the ballgame. If it stands, Houston's record will go to 4-1, and the Broncos' record will go to 4-2. Houston at the New York Jets next week, and Denver has an open day. Jeffries on the comeback, and it is incomplete. Be third down and 5. There's Bum Phillips, former head coach, now broadcaster for the Oilers, and his son Wade, who is a defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos. I ran into Bum outside the press box.
You know, it's funny.
He said he's having the time of his life. Go ahead.
Oh, I'll bet he is.
I'll tell my story later. You're obviously going to tell yours. Just can't wait, can you? Do you ever breathe during a telecast? Good lands.
Well, I just thought it was so funny when Bud Phillips, they asked him, he said, who do you root for in this situation? He says, of course I root for the Oilers. He says, hell, no, Wade knows I love him.
3rd down and 5. Drew Hill, it is incomplete. So it'll be 4th down, and Houston will be kicking.
Drew Hill on the corner route, just a little bit too tall for him. One of the disadvantages of having all your receivers 5'9".
Drew had an interesting comment yesterday. He said, we're an inside ball club, and we have to win to keep pace with Buffalo, because when we meet them in the playoffs, we want them here for the championship game.
To me, that shows a lot of confidence. Here it is, you know, for them, only the 5th game of the season. They're already talking about that, so aspirations are high here in town.
Good catch. And it'll be down at the 20-yard line. We've got a timeout. Houston leads it 35-7.
Be enjoying a hot, delicious pizza when the game is over.
(13:19) time remaining in the ball game here in the Astrodome. John Elway, 18 of 34, 168 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And Greg Lewis is now one of his running backs along with Perryman. And it is Lewis. And he makes it around the corner and fights his way for the 1st down. They're going to mark it across the 30-yard line. Bo Orlando with the tackle. Here's the ITT 10-minute ticker. Washington now stretching the lead over Chicago 20-7. Minnesota by 3. And the Jets by 3. That's now final. They defeat Cleveland. In the 4th quarter, the Eagles on top of Tampa Bay. Miami leading New England by 10 in the 4th. Dallas by 10 in the 4th. And Seattle 13, Cincinnati 7 in the 4th. Here in the 4th, Houston 35, Denver 7, and the Broncos have the ball, 1st down. Elway goes for it all, has a man there. It is Ricky Nattiel, and he scores. (69 yards on the touchdown pass.
Post pattern to Ricky Nattiel, and it looks like Richard Johnson just gives up on it. Here at the top of your screen, you can see here comes the post pattern. Richard Johnson trying to run with him across the field. Bo Orlando guesses wrong. He leaves the middle of the field, and it's wide open there for Ricky Nattiel. There's absolutely nobody there. Bo Orlando bought on a shorter route, and as a result, touchdown for the Broncos.
Elway's reaction, it's a 35-13 ball game with the extra point to come. Treadwell will attempt the point after. And it's good. The score, Houston 35, Denver 14. Lots of time remaining, 12.5 minutes.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Mitsubishi, bringing you a full line of award-winning automobiles. Mitsubishi, the word is getting around. By Xerox, the document company. By Delta Airlines, we love to fly, and it shows. And by the U.S. Army, learn how to get an edge on life. Be all you can be.
Welcome back to the Astrodome as the Denver Broncos are still trying to get back into the ball game.
He's testing it out. I got rhythm.
Setting up the possibility of an onside kick. And he kicks it away. Pat Coleman on the return. Coleman breaks it outside the 30 to the 35-yard line. That, of course, is what you give up when you set up for the onside kick and then go deep because you're out of your normal lane. Let's go back to that touchdown of 69 yards.
Many times what happens when you see the defensive back trailing a receiver, you assume it's his fault. Richard Johnson, this situation right here, is you can see backpedaling, is funneling him to the inside. But Bo Orlando is going to guess up here, and what happens is there's nobody left in center field, and as a result, Natil has an unimpeded path to the middle of the field for the touchdown.
Warren Moon remains in the ballgame at quarterback for Houston. He gives to White. And White picks up 9, maybe 10. Let's see where they spot it. He may have the first down. Michael Brooks with the tackle.
You wonder why they weren't doing this earlier when they're up 35 zips, saying to themselves, let's run the ball and take some time off the clock. Instead, Warren Moon comes in and they're throwing the ball. And, you know, really, a lot of their lack of time of possession has enabled Denver to, you know, arguably get back in this game a little bit.
Officials timeout. The chains are out. And just inches shy. So now it's time for our Xerox Sports Facts. Name the 3 Houston Oilers Hall of Famers. 3 Houston Oilers Hall of Famers. And we'll have that answer for you in just a few moments. Give you a chance to think it over. Dan Reeves, the head coach of the Denver Broncos. Second down in inches. And of course Warren Moon in there now because the Broncos are beginning to close a little on Houston, and one more touchdown and they'll be right back in the middle of the ball game, and they want Warren in to control the clock. They figure he can run more time off the clock in the run and shoot than Cody Carlson can.
Well, a coach will argue his point, and that is you can't play to prevent an injury. You know, if you were to ask Jack Party, what's Warren Moon doing in the game? He says, hey, we can't think about whether or not he gets hurt. I said, that's not how you play the game.
Start. Number 73, moving prior to the snap. Still second down.
Ball start on David Williams.
So you can see Warren Moon trying to get his teammates a little more excited here, saying, hey, what's going on? You know, we kind of let this thing slip away from us after dominating the first half. We haven't done anything yet. He said, let's put together a drive.
Oilers have been penalized 12 times for 88 yards. And within second and inches, it is second and 6. And White picks up about 4 yards on the play. It'll be third down and short. Well, you had time to think it over. Our Xerox Sports Facts. Name the 3 Houston Oilers Hall of Famers. They are Earl Campbell, George Blanda, and Ken Houston.
Out of the 3, only Earl Campbell played his entire career with the Houston Oilers. George Blanda, of course, started originally with the Chicago Bears, and people remember him in 1970 as being the league's most valuable player with the Oakland Raiders. Kenny Houston went on to play some strong safety for the Washington Redskins after his career with the Oilers.
George also was a linebacker with the Chicago Bears. And White is pulled down by Brooks. Is that who got him? He may have saved the first down.
Boy, that is some real strength there. You got 5'11", 222 pounds, and he pulls him down by one arm. Take a look in the middle of the field. Watch number 56 come off the block of Dawson with one arm. Wow. That's some real strength.
That is impressive.
Crowd's starting to get into it. They certainly don't want to put it away here. By the fact that Jack Party has his arms folded, it could be that they are going for it.
And the chains come out again. That's about half a yard. I think you kick it.
You're right.
If Denver's going to score, you want to make them work for it. There's a lot of time remaining. 10:26 to go in the ball game, and it's a 35-14 scoreboard with Houston on top as they've been throughout. 3 punts, a 43-yard average for Montgomery with his long 44. So you can see he's really been punting well. Kevin Clark is the return man. He's at the 15-yard line of Denver. And here's Montgomery. And he gets a good one away. Clark at the 15, he's to the 20. And goes out of bounds just shy of the 30-yard line. We've got a timeout. Scott Kozak with the tackle. 35-14, Houston leads.
in Japan, where the luxury performance sedan has been revolutionized by Lexus and Infiniti. A new luxury performance sedan has just won Japan.
The second half to get back in the ballgame.
Well, I think one of the things they've been afforded is Houston's gotten complacent. You know, hey, we're up 35-0, and as a result, the offense has really gone stale, and John Elway's made some big plays and got him a couple of touchdowns.
Can Denver get back at it enough to win it?
If they can get a big play here in this series, they can.
Elway throws underneath the coverage, and the gain is going to be good for about 5 yards on the play as he goes to Reggie Johnson with Fuller and Lathan on the tackle.
Certainly another determining factor is the health of the defensive line of the Houston Oilers, and once again now William Fuller is down.
And that means that 3 of the 4 starters now, Doug Smith, Sean Jones, and William Fuller, all have gone down with some kind of an injury or a nick or a bruise today.
And already with Lee Williams and Ezra Johnson on injured reserve, I mean, who's going to rush the passer?
We'll go back and see how Fuller, number 95, got hurt.
Oh, that right shoulder. Look at that. Hit him right in the neck. He might have got a pinched nerve up there. Watch the right shoulder of William Fuller. It takes the brunt of the blow right there and also at the side of his neck. That's why he's laying still right now. You can see.
And while we have the injury timeout, let's check in with a 10-minute ticker. In the fourth quarter, Washington is leading Chicago. Minnesota close over Detroit. In a final, the Jets defeat Cleveland in Cleveland 17-14. Jets are developing into a pretty good ball club. In the fourth quarter, Tampa Bay in front of the Eagles now. Miami still leading New England by 10 there in the fourth quarter. Dallas by 3 over Green Bay in the fourth quarter. And also in the fourth quarter, Seattle 13, Cincinnati 7. And here the score is Houston 35, Denver 14, with 9:48 left to go in the ball game. And a program note tonight.
Well, what happens in a lot of cases is that you get it hit and then your arm goes numb. You can't feel it. And that is a very strange sensation.
That catches your attention.
It does catch your attention. Now that he's sitting up, he looks around. There was actually a time I got hit so hard, I reached down and had to feel the AstroTurf to remember where I was. So I felt the AstroTurf. I go, oh, football game. Okay.
Poolside. No.
Exactly. There's somebody who's got to be a little bit concerned right now. Who's he going to put down now? Fortunately, Sean Jones is back in the game. So whatever was ailing his left leg is okay now. Or it could be the fact that they don't have anybody else. They said, Sean, if you want to earn all that money you're asking for, get out there.
Second down and 4 at the 35-yard line. Elway to throw. Far side pass is incomplete. Ricky Nattiel had it and couldn't hang on to it. Johnny Meads and Richard Johnson picked him up.
Second half, Denver obviously has come to play where Houston's been content to sit on their 35-point lead. I'm sure that's one of the things that Kevin Gilbride on the sidelines is talking about with his troops, is to say, look, you know, enough already. We can't just sit here and expect our defense to have to go out there, because what happens is the defense gets tired, particularly the pass rushers.
Third down and 4. Denver only 3 of 13 third down conversions. And this one is incomplete and should have been complete. Derek Russell, the rookie from Arkansas, hit him right in the numbers. He let it get through his hands, and it caromed off of his shoulder pad.
So angering if you're the quarterback. Now that's 2 straight drop passes. John Elway back there under severe duress. Takes a big shot here and puts it right on the mark. And the rookie drops it. And Russell up to that point have been having a pretty good game.
So fourth down and 4. They'll go for it again with 9:22 left to go in the game. The signal is back to Elway, the read of the defensive coverage of what he's got. And he's open. But he comes over the middle. This pass is complete to Mark Jackson. But Russell had a couple of steps on his man on the corner. It is a first down. Bo Orlando with the tackle. And all of a sudden, Denver is making an interesting second half.
Well, after 2 straight drops, Mark Jackson shows that the receiving core of Denver can come up with a big catch. He lays out for that one, hits him right in the hands. And once again, Elway has Sean Jones over the back of him. Look at Sean Jones coming. He takes the shot. He's supposed to sit down. He leans out. Nice catch by Mark Jackson.
And a gain of 19. The ball at the 45-yard line of Houston. Elway fires low, and it is a caught, yes. And it was Teal who scooped this one out, and Elway put it the only place that he could catch it, and it wouldn't be intercepted with that kind of coverage. Here's number 84. Watch, right there.
Darrell Lewis thought he had the interception. And Teal does a good job focusing on the ball and gets him close to a first down.
It is a first down. They moved the chains. 35-yard line of the Oilers. 8:20 and counting time remaining. And Elway is sacked. Good defensive play. And guess who? Bubba McDowell. He's been everywhere. He has had a great ball game.
It would only seem appropriate that Bubba McDowell would make a good play, and his anticipation is amazing. This is close to being offsides, but he times it just right. There's nothing Elway can do. Nice play there by McDowell. Watch how close he is to being offsides. Here he comes to the left of your screen, times it up just right. There's nobody there to get him. Nice play by Bubba McDowell.
So it's a loss of 10. It's 2nd and 20. The ball just outside the Oilers' 45-yard line. Now 8 minutes left in the game. Houston on top 35-14. Sewell underneath the coverage, and he is knocked down at the 29-yard line. Lamar Lathan laid the hit on him. It's going to be 3rd down and 9. Denver going with 5 wide receivers. There's nobody back to protect Elway, and they get to it. This time it was William Fuller who got there.
William Fuller put a terrific move on Ken Lanier. He came with the arm over, and that's good to see, particularly in light of the fact that when he got it dinged earlier, we thought that that was going to be a very serious injury. Coming from the left of your screen, you see William Fuller. Look at the arm over right there in Ken Lanier. John Elway feels him coming, but there's no place to go.
It is 4th down and 17. Houston's defense with 5 sacks today. A minus 54 yards for the Broncos just in the sack department. 4th and 17. It is caught. It may not be enough. A flag is down at the 23-yard line. It's going to be on 4th down, a yard shy of the first down. Michael Young, he came back, and he came back a step too far. The penalty, if I read it right, is against Denver. If so, they'll refuse it. And Houston will take over on down.
This is a nice call by John Elway with a moving pocket. That bought him a little bit more time. And Ricky Nattiel was able to give the illusion that he was going up and then come back. Make sure, come on, pay attention.
Remember, it's 4th down.
Said that's not a defensive signal. We're refusing the penalty. They're going to measure it, but as you mentioned, Charlie, I think it is a little bit short.
And if it happens to be enough, then the Oilers would take the penalty. And it's going to be short.
Pass interference, number 83 on the offense. Penalty is declined. The ball goes over on downs. First down for Houston.
So Houston takes over on downs at their own 26-yard line. Okay. And that's not a wrap on Michael Young, because he was just trying to find an open space. He knew that he was in the area of the markers, but he had to come back and help Elway.
Well, Michael Young, what happens a lot of times here, there he cuts upfield. Now watch, he's going to push off. Now he pushes off and comes back. That's a good call by the official. Good call by the official. Michael Young tried once too often. Sometimes you can get away with that. Take it from me. You can short arm it, and sometimes the official won't see it. But in that case, that was way too blatant. He pushes off and then comes back to the ball. The official right on top of it.
So Houston a first down at their own 26-yard line. 6:41 time remaining in the ballgame. And here's Alan Pinckett. Today's telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Houston Oilers and the National Football League is prohibited. This game is the property of the National Football League, Denver Broncos and Houston Oilers. All rights reserved. Second down and 10. The ball at the 26-yard line, and now the Oilers will start to work on the play clock. 19 seconds and counting. They'll use up all the time they can. The Broncos with 3 timeouts remaining, and Houston with 3 timeouts remaining. Pressure from the backside, and the pass is complete to Givens. So Ernest Givens pulls it in at the 46-yard line, a gain of 20 and a first down. And this is the most effective way that the Oilers use the clock. Game clock on right side, play clock on left side.
One of the things that stands out to me, Charlie, particularly in the first half and on that play, is the pass protection that Warren Moon has been afforded. I think with the exception of Mike Kroll's 1 sack, you know, he's been relatively untouched today.
Warren, as you saw, took the snap with about 8 seconds to go. Pinkett, the ball carrier. And while everyone watches the clock, we'll take a look at the ticker. Final now, Washington over Chicago. Finals, Detroit defeats Minnesota. Oh, Detroit is tough. The Jets by 3 over Cleveland. Those are all finals. Tampa Bay by 1 over the Eagles, a final. Still in the fourth quarter, Miami leading New England by 10. Dallas by 3, and Seattle defeats Cincinnati. Those are both finals. Late games that are just starting, no score, San Diego and the Raiders. And the Giants, as you saw, up by 7 over Phoenix. Moon throws far side. All alone is Curtis Duncan. Duncan, bad move, should have leaned to the inside and let the clock continue to run. Wyman Henderson is the man who bumped him out. A gain of 20 yards on the play. And be sure to stay with us here on NBC for the second half of the doubleheader. It'll be San Diego and the Raiders. As you saw, that game is already underway, but no score. And as soon as we're through here, most of you will be joining that game from the Coliseum. Mark the ball at the 33-yard line of Denver. And Houston has a first down with 4:14 left to go here. And the Oilers up 35-14. A ball game they have dominated, leading 35-0 at halftime. There's nothing there. Misses on a handoff.
Mike Munchak, the all-pro guard for the Houston Oilers, but now with an injury, they count on him for next week. We mentioned earlier that all first and second round picks. He's a first-round pick out of Penn State. And many people talk about the possibility that this might be the 4th Oiler in the Hall of Fame. 6- or 7-time Pro Bowler, terrific offensive lineman, along with Bruce Matthews and the rest of the crew.
And he said yesterday in the weight room when I talked to him that he would be ready next week. He said not tomorrow, but next week we'll be ready. They play the Jets at New York. Second and 13. The pass is underthrown as Moon had pressure. That stops the clock with 3:36 left to go here. Drew Hill, the intended receiver. Let's go back to the early part of the ball game and a look at today's Canon camcorder replay of the game.
Well, Mike Horan gets the bad snap. Bo Orlando comes right into your screen and blocks the punt of Mike Horan. Bubba McDowell, who's been all over the field today, recovers it for a touchdown, and that play personified the way the day has been going for the Denver Broncos. That's our Canon camcorder replay of the game.
Third down and 13, and there he is.
He's got a reason to be happy, though.
Oh, yes. He has had a good one. Here's a little screen right side to Pinkett. Looks for a block. 20, 10. He scores. 36 yards away. flag at the goal line.
Well, Jeffries had got into it with Wyman Henderson. Jeffries put a pretty good block on him near the goal line, and instead of just letting it go, he got in his face and had to argue the point, and that's where the fisticuffs started. Earlier, when the Houston Oilers had run this screen, I had mentioned if Alan Pinkett had cut back to the middle of the field, he'd have had a little bit more room, and right there, that's exactly what happened. He cut back to the middle, and there's nobody there.
Right now, the score, the Oilers 41, and reverse it, the Broncos 14. Here's the call.
Offsetting personal fouls. Number 24 on Denver. Number 84 on Houston. Fouls all set. The touchdown is good. Got the extra point.
Henderson and Jeffries with the offsetting personal foul.
Well, whatever Kevin Gilbride said to Warren Moon on the sidelines, it must have worked because they came out and got a drive and got a touchdown. Just what they wanted.
And Halfield adds a point after. It's Houston 42, Denver 14. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Well, the screen pass has been very effective for Houston throughout the game, and here you can see Pinkett gets it. Now watch when he cuts upfield, instead of saying to the right, he cuts to the middle, and there's nobody left. Carl Mecklenburg can't get there. He has a misdirection. He runs past Charles Dimmery. Now watch here. This is what happens. Watch Jeffries at the end. He collides with Henderson outside of your screen, and that's where the fisticuffs began. But Pinkett makes a nice cut there, enabling the Houston Oilers to get their 42nd points.
And speaking of touchdowns in the Astrodome, let's stroll down memory lane and take a look at a couple of touchdowns. This is a flashback of the old tight end himself.
Oh, my goodness. Look at this. Sweet move. Oh, yes, indeed.
And you know what? That's an illegal jersey you're wearing.
Gotta love it. No, watch this. Now, check out this spike. You gotta love this. Oh, I'd get 5 yards for that.
Oh, but you got to turn around and be on camera and tell us that you scored 3 touchdowns in that ball game.
Yeah, well, I did. I got 3 touchdowns in that game. I don't know what our crack production staff was unable to do in getting that third one back.
Get out of here.
Normally, I don't keep track of statistics, but I had 7 for 86 and 3 touchdowns. October 26, 1986, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, memory escapes you at this time. Right? It's another understatement by my partner. It's the burden we all have to carry. All right, here we go. Houston to kick off to Denver. 3:25 left to go here in the dome.
Does the term self-promotion mean anything to you?
Yes. Here's Montgomery on the return. And he's out to about the 22 or the 23-yard line. Childress and Kozak. And,
oh, my goodness.
Here's a pushing and shoving and mid-sized melee trying to take place at the 38-yard line. And the interesting thing, I'm wondering why the game has slid downhill into this kind of a situation, because the last time that the Broncos were here in the Astrodome was like 1983. Elway did not play. First time he's ever played in the Dome because he was injured then. That was his rookie year.
Well,
but what happens? I mean, you know, bad blood between 2 teams that play each other twice in the same division, I can understand. But this is like, you know, well, 2 bad relatives that live halfway across the country from each other.
No, actually, you know what it is, Charlie, is there's a lot of frustration on the part of Denver because of the fact that, you know, they're getting spanked the way they're getting spanked. And, of course, Houston isn't helping it any, because you can see that there are a lot of guys that are jawing at people. And a lot of the jawing that you can't catch on TV, you know, ends up showing itself in fisticuffs. And, of course, that's foolish, because you never see anybody get hurt in a fight other than get thrown out of the game because of all the padding. But
and Gary Kubiak is loosening up on the sideline.
Yeah, he's loosening up.
On the receiving team, half the distance to the goal. It's first down.
Elway's still in. I'm still not sure why. 3:13. I think now's the time to put Kubiak in.
Exactly. What's he warming up with 3:13 left and his team down 28 points? I don't understand that. Why isn't he in the game?
I don't know. It's obvious that Dan Reeves, like Jack Pardee, doesn't take our advice on his quarterbacks. Elway has completed 24 of 42, 301 yards, 1 interception, 2 touchdowns. Now the line of scrimmage is going to be the 12-yard line. And a first down with 3:13 left to go. And we have flags. We'll have a false start call. A sellout crowd here in Houston, but as you kind of look around the Astrodome, many of the fans are leaving early. They're getting a jump on the traffic.
Prior to the snap, still first down.
Charlie, to put this in a nutshell, I mentioned earlier John Elway's quote about taking 1 out of 2 from the dome. I really think that the Minnesota victory was almost a benchmark for that Denver team. They finally won a game on the dome. They're very satisfied with themselves to be 4-1. Houston, on the other hand, had to live with 2 weeks of abuse from the press here in Houston, talking about what's your problem, being 3-1, losing to a team like New England. They came out very ready to play, and quite frankly, Denver came out flat.
First and 15. Here's the draw. And Sewell gets out to about the 13-yard line. He'll pick up about 6 on the play. It'll be second down and 9. And now here's that change at quarterback as Gary Kubiak does come in.
I'd be interested to know why this guy was in for 2 plays. What was the point? You don't know.
Don't know.
Well, we got a big Tuesday is the trading deadline, which may or may not be significant, but for the Denver Broncos it certainly is. They have holdout running back Bobby Humphrey, who for 2 straight seasons was a 1,000-yard rusher. Now with the emergence of Gaston Green,
Kubiak's pass is incomplete to Michael Young.
He becomes somewhat expendable. There you can see his statistics, and there have been rumors that he's been traded every place from San Francisco to New England. Whether or not, when we asked Dan Reeves whether or not it was imperative that they get some value for him prior to Tuesday, he said that there was no hurry.
But he did feel that if there was a trade, they need to have value received for him.
Well, certainly a back of his caliber should warrant a first-round pick. There you can see Gaston Green. His numbers were limited today, but a lot of that was because of the fact that they fell behind so early and he became a non-factor.
Third down and 9. Kubiak's pass is complete. Mark Jackson pulls it in, and he'll pick up the first down, and the clock continues to move, aimed at the 2-minute mark. Chris Dishman with the tackle, and the ball will be spotted at the 27-yard line. Gain of 14 and a first down. And now the 2-minute warning to both benches. We've got a timeout. Houston leads it 42-14.
Alcoa presents Fantastic Finishes, 1989.
These are the kind of games you want to play in as defensive lineman. You know why? Because it's all going to come down to the end.
And the end came in overtime, keeping alive Cleveland's chance for a division title.
And it's a fake. Pagel rolling, throwing to Van Waiters. Touchdown Browns! Woo! The Browns have won the game on an amazing piece of trickery. Woo! What an ending!
100 years. Jack Pardee, the head coach of the Houston Oilers, he's so low-key that when we talked to him yesterday, you know, they could have been 3-1 or 1-3. I think it would have been exactly the same.
Hey, you know, you and I are familiar with this story, and it's one that's been oft-repeated, but as a 28-year-old playing football with the Los Angeles Rams, he was one of the few that has beaten cancer. So I guess you beat cancer. Nothing affects you too much after that. He's a man's man.
Incomplete. Mark Jackson couldn't hang on to it. It'll be second down. Let's go back to that graphic just a moment ago that Houston, in the remaining games, they will face, among others, 5 playoff teams.
And 2 of those games they have to play in Washington against the Redskins, and they end the season in New York against the Giants. So unlike the Denver Broncos, they do not have a 5th-place schedule. They're playing some very tough teams down the stretch. And one of the things that Warren Moon pointed out to us yesterday is to get to be the championship caliber team, we've got to learn to win on the road. And that has been a real difficult thing for the Houston Oilers over the last couple of years.
Second and 10 at the 27-yard line. Kubiak's pass this time to Sewell is complete. And he should pick up the first down before Lamar Latham and Darrell Lewis make the tackle. Let's check in again with the 10-minute ticker. These are finals. Washington winning over Chicago. Detroit defeats Minnesota. Jets down Cleveland. Tampa Bay edges Philadelphia, and Miami by 10 over New England. And they're hurrying up the action. Sewell on the receiving end. The ball will go out to the 46 or the 47-yard line. Richard Johnson with the tackle. We'll go back to finish out the ticker for you. They've got a timeout called on the field. Dallas defeats Green Bay by 3. Seattle downs Cincinnati. Cincinnati continues to struggle. These are the late games. Raiders with a field goal, an early lead over San Diego. The Giants lead Phoenix 7-3. And be sure to stay with us as soon as this telecast is over. It's going a little bit long by now. You'll be joining the San Diego Raiders game at the Coliseum in Los Angeles.
You know, Charlie, if you'd have asked me at the beginning of the season, is Cincinnati going to start the season 0-5 and Detroit start 5-1, I'd have told you you're nuts. Barry Sanders in that game, 25 carries for 116 yards, and he added another 76 yards receiving. Evidently, he's gotten over that early rib problem.
Second down and a couple. Kubiak's going to run for it, and he is down around the 42-yard line in Houston territory. This gives us an opportunity to thank our executive producer of NBC Sports, who is Terry O'Neill. They're going to hurry up, and so we'll go through these audio only. The coordinating producer of NFL football is John Francis. Today's telecast was produced by Tom Roy and directed by John McDonough. Our associate director is Jeffrey Simon. Our production associate, Harold Bryan. Now we're back to play. Thanks to all of you and the crew that we have with us today. We've had a bit of a blowout, but we've had a lot of fun. Hope that you've enjoyed the telecast and you stayed with us. William Fuller makes the defensive play. And the clock is finally going to tick away on this ball game.
Well, William Fuller had some fun. That's his third sack of the game, and I know that Kubiak didn't have any fun on that play. He came out of nowhere. You know, you sit there, and for most of the season, you know, you're manning the clipboard behind John Elway. Then you come into a game which is essentially garbage time, and you take that kind of shot. Boy, that's tough.
Another quick reminder, next week Houston will be in New York. They will take on the Jets in Denver. They return home. They have an open date.
Clock is running. Gary Kubiak wants no more of getting another playoff. No. I don't blame him.
So that makes it official. The final score, the Houston Oilers 42, the Denver Broncos 14. Your remarks?
Well, I think that earlier we talked about how the two best teams in the AFC were Buffalo and Houston. Even with the loss in New England, the way they look today, I'd certainly have to say that the Houston Oilers are, along with Buffalo, the teams to beat in this conference.
For Todd Christensen, I'm Charlie Jones. Reminder, coming up next on most of these NBC stations, it is Game 2 of our NFL doubleheader. The San Diego Chargers and the Los Angeles Raiders. So long, everybody.